Wrong screen. All right. All right. What's up?
All right, how's it going?
It's going. It is
You
going.
join us just in time for the best bit of the kickoff.
The top eight. The cream
Watch Wanderers
of the
top of the
crop.
Swiss, 6-0, Rakdos Aristocrats. What else have we got here?
I don't know. The top eight needs to start. There's a lot of people on the
DL23.
bubble.
DL23 playing Spirit Dancer White Red Auras, winner of the 500 last season. Lost SRAM, but I don't know if it gained anything. Certainly
Oh, they squeaked
yeah,
in. Oh man, what a
pretty
squeak
good.
in.
Yeah, that's eighth place. Dangerfield on a very tap out control, black white control, going up to like a 6 or 7 mana Kaya and a Elspeth Sun's champion, and Wraths and goodness knows what. Against CD Newland, who is playing like blue black flash with librarians with the Academy Lawmaster, and also main deck the 3/2 Gilded Drake and some unsummons to get the Gilded Drake back after you've swapped creatures, or just for tempo, and then flash threats because of Lawmaster wants you to play everything at instant speed for the most part. Sacritor on Blue White Angels is playing Tom Sonic on a crazy red black ramp. I watched some crazy games of theirs earlier. And then Alanon is on Walker Control, which I assume is black white. Yeah, Abstruse Appropriation and so on. That is actually the same deck, I think, as Danger as the other one. And XR Vess, I don't know, XR Vess is also on Orzhov.
So much black
Three,
white. That's crazy.
yeah, four abstruse appropriation in the main decks in the top eight, and some pretty fun ones uh, besides. Presumably the black white games will go long, so we should watch.
I want to watch Sacritor, the 2-7
Yeah,
matchup. That's like
yeah,
that looks like the
Blue White
funnest
Angels
match.
against Red Black Ramp. I had this on just streaming to Discord earlier, and it was
Yeah.
very crazy. We saw a win for Red Black Ramp. They'd stolen with Atali something like 6 cards from opponent, including 2 things that gain life when you made a creature, and they were staying alive by attacking with Grave Titans, making 4 zombies, gaining 4 life to kind of try and keep pace with the flyers in the air. And oh my god, it was crazy. There was a very important ritual of soot off an Atali at one point, and various other things. But yeah, okay, let's watch that one.
If they're not up yet, so I am quietly waiting.
Oh, they're not. They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
there you
see.
go.
Sonic has put the game up, so
Okay, we will wait.
presumably we'll.
The So yeah, how was your tournament? I didn't play obviously, but how was yours?
Started well at 2-0. Deck felt pretty unbeatable. Ended up in a really strange situation in game three where I kind of mismanaged the clock, and I was 1-0 up with 43 seconds left when I threw in the towel. That was embarrassing. Beat Mono Red, but lost really tight ones to Esper Gifts and another deck that I'm forgetting. So yeah, only 3-3. Deck felt very powerful. 6 rounds feels like a long time when you're like figuring out what to get with Buried Alive and whether to eternalize something or spend the mana on Ronus's ability or play a card from hand, or decision trees as Magic presents us. So my brain's a bit fried, but it was a good time.
Oh wow, someone played all 6 rounds and still bubbled out of top 32.
And
There's
I
at least
actually
a
the
couple.
other one I lost to, the other one I won rather was against Eureka Hypergenesis, where game one they made some dinosaurs and I put in a Pelucranos, a Ronas, and a Necroticus, and it was like better than their stuff. And game two I sideboarded in Overwhelming Splendor, and so their hand, and in fact entire deck, didn't do anything. So that was fun.
Okay, Sacritor is joined. We will watch this game. So what's going on with this deck? So Angels, this is the big deck, right? Is it the big new deck? All the
Yeah, and
all the
Sacritor taking maybe a slightly unorthodox angle of having blue for counter spells and the 2/3 flash fly that lets you cast creatures with flying off the top of your library.
There's a Steel Seraph in here. That's cool. A bunch of
Yeah,
Steel
there's
Seraphs.
Steel Seraph in
Watcher of the
Sacritor.
Spheres too. Watcher just like reduces flying costs.
Oh
That's
yeah,
pretty
so it's
neat.
properly blue. It's not really a splash. Yeah,
No, it's not.
it's
Yeah, I mean
Aaron
Giada
Born.
or Aaron and Giada with also Giada. There's no Aaron though, but they make Oh, it's just like a what do you call it? Like a future sight on a stick. That's also an angel, so it kind of helps out.
Yeah, yeah, pretty
I
good if
mean,
your deck is full of flying creatures to begin with. Okay, so we're richening something out here. Just a
yeah,
big score.
this is the ramp part
Seems
of this deck, right? So it's just
they
they're trying to just
chose to start Sweltering Suns, implying what exactly? That
well, one
the
four. It
cost
doesn't
is
kill a
too
one
high.
four, right? It doesn't kill
Yeah, but
four fours and
here's
one
a 2/2
fours.
you'd love to kill. It's an interesting choice. They must have a very good hand if they don't want Sweltering Suns against the aggro deck.
Yeah, shoot the sheriff on the Giada.
I think this
Notice
deck
we
really gets going at like 6 and 7, although Liliana Death Majesty might be 5. But it's got Atali at 7 and Grave Titan at 6.
yeah. So
Don't know how many.
so Tom's deck has a Crabomination in their deck too, which is really
Oh yes,
sweet.
yeah.
I'd love
I
to
don't
see
know if
that
there's
go
any
off.
artifacts. It can emerge from Coalition Relic amongst other things. Okay, so 6 mana available. Is there a Grave Titan? That would be pretty good.
Yeah, there you
There
go.
is a Grave Titan. So this is not game over for Angels. I don't think at all. You know, but good blocks for the Grave Titan are going to be hard to come by. You need a. I don't know what you need.
I
Maybe
guess
more
if you're like
lightning.
the angel player, you want like a lot. Well, I guess you're a little short on mana here, but to start like playing some like flyers, gaining some life, try to race this, but I don't think it's gonna be fast enough.
Yeah, this Grave Titan might be early enough to take it away. We have seen Grave Titan lose on the Discord stream earlier, and we've also seen it win in roughly this matchup, in Angels matchup. It might have even been these two players. Goes for Vigilance, hoping to trade, I guess, here then. So we've got 6 power of Defenders, 6 power Grave Titan, just kind of clear the decks and
Actually, I
hope
like this
you
play
don't get four
because
healers.
they don't have like another 6 mana to do something crazy. Like their payoffs are what? Grave Titan, Abomination, and Natali. What does Natali's cost?
Right,
It's like
and
six or seven.
possibly, you've got a Lyra in hand.
Ooh, big swelter. There you go. That's why they discarded
That's
it.
why they decided Sweltering Suns, because they had another one,
Yeah.
possibly in the earlier turn. That's pretty nice. So this is a very hard board. Something like a Lyra means you can only attack with the Grave Titan, but here is Lyra. But the Grave Titan attack is pretty good, I think. Trade and leave yourself with 4 zombies, or um, oh, and we have another shoot.
The sheriff.
So this is just very close to death
Yeah,
now.
this is shoot the sheriff
Pretty
against
good.
the angel like meta is like actually pretty great. There's
Yeah,
no
I mean, just
outlaws
taking
here.
out you can take out the engine 2 drop, or you can take out the top of the curve 5 drop. Both things are really great and really put a crimp in their game plan, and cost you 2 mana, so you're never trading down. Just seems, yeah, pretty awesome. I don't know what does it here. You can chump block with any given one creature and and if it has lifelink, maybe not die. But yeah, it's
I think this
difficult to
is
imagine.
gonna be game one for Tom here.
Yeah, I think so. Turn 3, Grave Titan, question mark, was it? Or turn 4?
That was a turn four, I believe, off a big score.
Yeah, big score, they ritualed out on turn 2. But yeah, then they didn't, they just shoot the sheriff the next turn, and then turn 4, Grave Titan. Okay, so we've gained some life, which is highly relevant. So we can now, well, we're taking at least 6. And we have to take 6, presumably. Okay, just a hard cast Crobomination emerging from nothing, just to see what we get, and Sacritor would rather
Carbonation
concede.
good? What is this has to be good, right?
Um,
This has to be like kind of game ending, right? In some way.
it
Top.
costs 7 mana on the fair, right? So presumably it's useless. Oh, it's pretty bad unless you emerge it. That must be true, mustn't it? I'm not sure. I don't think it does quite enough to to be worth 7 mana straight up. Now this deck definitely has Coalition Relic, so it has got ways to emerge. Oh, 6 mana. 6 mana. I mean, maybe, if you're ramping and you just need a 6 mana, hugely impactful thing, making a 5/5 and casting a spell from a choice of 3, sort of at random, is good. I don't know. Kind of sounds like Bloodbraid Elf for 6 mana, but it can hit very expensive things, I guess, and then it's way better than Bloodbraid Elf for 6 mana. Body is respectable, but doesn't have any evasion or even like reach or something.
I'm just happy that there's an Atali deck randomly here. Like,
Yeah, Itali, Liliana Death
and a
Magistrate
Breach the
with
Multiverse. Like
Abomination in the top 8 is wonderful news for any neutral.
it's just funny because like the ramp aspect, when you think about ramp, you think about things like ramping growth or Farseek. I mean, they have
Yeah, this
permanent
is more
ramp and
like
like
ritual
coalition
ramp
wreck.
and
Yeah. So it's kind of a one shot. If you can deal with like the one thing, you can maybe buy some time. So I think for the Angels deck, they can bring in something like some more counter spells. Condemned pretty great. They have Urza's Rudis Blast as like they have plenty of late legends between Linvala, Denik,
oh,
Lyra,
I
Giada,
feel like
Erendin Giada. That could be
this
really
catch
good.
version has to be way better in this matchup than the average, right? Like
Yeah.
because you know you can establish some kind of board, a 3/3 flyer or whatever, and then you can hold up your 5, 6, 7. I'm not sure how many it is counter spells for the big things. Um,
But if you
but
ramp up a lot, you could probably pay for these like derpy like Mana League-esque effects, right? But you can't pay for Unified Will. Unified Will is a really good
Unified Will is
sideboard,
just a straight counter as long as you have more creatures, and
which that should happen
Lofty,
definitely. Yeah.
Lofty is for 4, and 4 is a lot of mana just to have spare when you're trying to cast like Itali or something. So I think the counters probably work really well. Great against big score where the discard is part of the cost. You don't get the treasures because it never resolves. You don't get the cards because it never resolves. So tapping out for a Seraph here. Cycling a Canyon stuff's not very exciting.
Yeah, like putting the Seraph out there and just having Unified Will now, if they assuming they brought it in. Not really sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, this turns on both Unified Will and uh,
Lofty Denial. I didn't know this was
Lofty
an
Denial.
angel. This is crazy. I didn't know like all these like random
No,
angels are coming out now to play. It's
I was
like
pretty surprised the 2/3 Flash Flyer was an angel. Um,
I remember that. I remember trying to play with that. I remember that being
so
like an angel something
super suspicious tap for
human.
2, leaving 2 up here just really implies we either have or are bluffing.
Human
Doesn't
angel
make any
seems like very awkward, right? To have on like a subtype. Because when you think of
yeah.
like a subtype of being like I would say like race plus job, and like so it's like human and an angel a job or is human a job for them? I don't know. I'm not
Is
really
this angel
sure.
been
Does that make any
forced to
sense to
go
me?
to?
I don't know. Anyways, here's a Watcher of the Spheres. It's pretty neat.
Makes
Really,
this Resplendent Angel cost 2, which probably doesn't matter, but at least it pumps the Watcher. Gonna go lifelink again. And presumably we're already in the end game here, unless Tom Sonic has removal here, but I guess he probably does. He hasn't done very much so far.
yeah. Out of the sideboard for the black red deck, I think they have like stuff like Ritual Soot, which is actually pretty great against a deck like
This
this.
is not bad. Doesn't
More
make
Shoot the
Lyra.
Sheriffs, probably better than like
Okay.
a
End of
Sweltering Suns.
turn, we're just gonna big score into a counter spell probably.
Yeah,
Do you counter
just
here or do you save your counter for the big spell
mm,
next turn? Both are tempting.
I think if you have a Unified Will, you don't care. You want them to blow the treasure tokens. It does
Mm-hmm.
kind of hurt to see the Itali go to
This
the
draw two
graveyard.
as well or is anything, but yeah, you could be dead to ritual into something crazy if you do use the counter. It's probably safer not to.
This is a breach.
We are going big. Oh,
Breach the multiverse. And yeah, here's the Lofty Denial. Doesn't even need
so,
the flying counter, but
no.
I'm
So presume that doesn't really tell us anything about Unified Will because you would use Lofty Denial over Unified Will there probably, just being
I'm
slightly
I'm
more
also very
exceptional.
surprised they picked a Binding Negotiation, which is like a 2 mana for
What
them.
is binding
It's like
negotiation? Oh,
it's basically a 2 mana
Ambush.
Thoughtseize over like a duress.
Hmm. Maybe because of Eureka. Although this deck could maybe go toe to toe with Eureka. No, probably not. Like I definitely played I can't remember what hand disruption. I ended up playing Overwhelming Splendor, but I was gonna play Spectre's Shriek in that spot just because it also hits Sharda's Agent. Oh, we've gone for Lyra, so we're just saying shields down. Wait, is this lethal? Yeah, it's lethal. Okay, so no, not shields down, just
Yeah,
kill you.
just Shield's incredibly down
Yeah,
for.
I can math, says Sakutor, and that is that.
It's also a lord.
Well, I thought this game would go long. This match would go long. We've had two super quick games. Turn 6 kills in both, I think, roughly speaking, at least. Not quite the Red Deck wins mirror or whatever. Well, actually, those can sometimes go long, but yeah, quicker than I imagined. Certainly seen the tail end of some much longer games between this deck and Angels in the Swiss. In fact, probably even between these two players.
Yeah, rematch still going. So let's see. I haven't even looked at. I know you were talking about the list. I wasn't listening. So Newland's playing Librarians against Control.
Yeah, Blue Black Librarians. It's pretty good. It crushed me pretty handily.
Oh, we got a
Earlier.
heroic versus aristocrats. That's good. That's a kind of a toss up. I feel like maybe I don't know.
I
And
mean, that
then
match always used to be swung by
two,
Ordeal of Heliod, but they don't play that anymore.
and then a control
Or,
mirror as the other match. Wow, a lot of control, a lot
oh,
of black white control. That's crazy.
yeah, I mean, maybe it has the answers to everything. They're mostly not Yorion as well, I think. I guess I haven't checked in detail.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Tap land. Been a lot of tap land in this tournament. Maybe
I mean
you
that
can get away with skipping turn 1 these days in Penny Dreadful, I don't know. Going for a Coalition Relic.
it's interesting. I guess
Well,
you
I
get
mean, it boosts you 2 anyway, so it's kind of worth spending 2 on, I guess. I don't know. Kind of more permanent addition. So Sacritor makes a flyer. So I don't know if Giada is quite good enough to ride to victory, but might allow him to play like another 2 next turn, hold up the counter, and so on. So
or it's like a ramp. You
thinking,
could ramp to 4. I don't know, it was like 4 drop angels they would play, but
okay, so we have 6 mana. The Grave Titan. It's Crabomination. So we'll see if Crabomination is as good as.
ooh, it hits 2 lands. That's not good.
So it's
Can't
literally, we've literally just ramped out a 5/5, and that could be game losing. Yeah.
Or they could just
Um,
like emerge. They could emerge onto the Abomination with the Abomination
yeah, yeah,
for
and
like
one
1
card in
mana.
hand though.
Yeah. Oh, they have
I
one
mean,
card
and
left. Oh, never mind.
yeah, yeah, because they've used 2 dot rituals. So already looking kind of bleak here. Yeah, Crabomination probably the best draw on the basis that it might, draw you a Lyra.
Oh, it's not an
Instead of
artifact. You're
making.
right. I thought it was an artifact. I hate these border things.
Oh,
Sometimes I just
it
get
does
so
kind of look like an
confused.
artifact.
It's just like terrible. I
Okay,
could
so it
rant for days about like borderless cards now. I
now
swear I
can
thought
you
it was an
spend
artifact.
Giada's mana on Resplendent Angel's ability? No.
No, it's just for spells.
Wait, why did we? Oh, just to make Giada bigger. Right.
Yeah.
So the idea here is what? Um, we're sitting on a counter spell and we're going to race. We're going to tap 5 if we have a land next turn to give the Resplendent Angel lifelink and kick off that whole thing. I don't know. 4/4 Giada not doing too much, but I guess you might as well upgrade it. Definitely
Yeah.
winning the race here. So it's on Tom Sonic to do something, and he does. Nada. Cannot pay for a lofty denial, cannot get around Unified Will. Maybe needs to see if they turn up for the life game that they probably won't because they're winning the race. So it proves. And some charge counters on and YOLOing
Yeah.
into
Looking
Itali
for
no counter is about the
or
only hope here.
or like a ritual of soot. That would be the best card to draw here. Just a 2 for 1.
Ritual is very good. Put you to 5. But presumably there's a counter.
Oh, there's a shoot the sheriff. This is really good. Unless they have a unified will. That doesn't keep them alive, but it's good. I guess it's okay. It's what they kind of needed.
I mean,
Oh,
on
there
its
it
own,
is.
Shoot the Sheriff actually doesn't do anything. I think I'd let that resolve and keep my 4/4 flyer who's lethal alive. Right? Because then you can just counter whatever the last card is. But anyway, it's probably not going to matter. It's not like they drew 2 good cards.
I mean, if they pick this one moment with the sandbag, I mean, this is kind of a test, right? Well, I mean, you could have blocked anyway. Blocking here is safe unless they have another removal spell. You don't have a counter spell there, so like, I guess what you can think, what could they do for 5 life? So you just take it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your hand. Maybe you have two counter spells and you just counter the first one because why not? This is a lethal attack two different ways. There we go.
All right, Angels
Angels
into the
into the
top four.
semis.
Jace is pleased.
It's Jace's season, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
So the blue black is still going. Do you want to watch that?
yeah, we could do that.
The
Let's
blue
do.
black librarians. It's kind of interesting. A new take. Now that we have such good mana, you can play Academy Lawmaster in a multicolor
Oh,
deck.
and watch goes down 2-1 over the
Uh,
DL23 with the heroic deck.
Okay, okay, yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense to me. I don't know if you can get lifelink on your big spirit dancer. If you can, that seems pretty good. And even just generally having the bigger things, probably pretty great. Okay, let's look at this Dangerfield CD Newland. I lost to Dangerfield on time in the Swiss at 1-0 up. It was quite
This is
embarrassing.
game
CD Newland.
three. We just got the start of game three. This is great.
Pretty interesting that Volatile Stormbreaker is still in the deck, but I guess against a creatureless deck that hasn't made any tokens yet, or whatever, it's a 3/2 flyer for 2, which is not the worst. Hexproof from activation triggered ability, should that matter, with like Kaya or something. Okay, we're taking the opportunity to resolve a Lawmaster here, so maybe the last turn for Dangerfield to tap out for expensive things on their main phase.
Yeah, this control
We'll
deck is just
see.
like a pile of planeswalkers. It's like
Yeah,
it's like
not even that many wraths, but some wraths, some planeswalker, just
and
like
a bunch
stuff
of
that's
like
really good if it resolves. It costs
yeah.
4 and 5 and even 6.
I'm surprised there's no. I mean, there's like I guess Birth of Melons. It's not really a ramp card, but it's just like 24 land seems like so low for a deck like this.
They do
But I guess
think
like with
that the
the
latest.
birth, I guess birth kind of like does help fix a little bit, but you can't really fetch a black source with this, which I'm kind of like dislike.
Okay, you're spell piercing this in case they don't have the land drop, and just in general keep away a blocker, perhaps letting Lawmaster get in, and
I
then
like that
oh,
spell pierce a lot. You don't want them. You don't want them to like ensure land drops. That's what the control deck wants to do. They want to
and they
hit
have
every
lands
land
that
drop, and they have six
yeah,
drops in their deck. They need to hit these lands. So I like that spell pierce a lot.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I would have assumed they probably had a land in hand, but
No attack. That's interesting.
just playing around condemn because they think they will just win if they
Yeah,
ride the Lawmaster, I guess.
3 condemn in the main, one in the side, so they got 4 total that could bring in.
Yeah, I mean, condemn pretty good against Lawmaster, but I guess not if they are smart enough not to attack with their Lawmaster. Did make the fourth land drop on turn 5, so there's some hope. Seems like probably a terrible matchup for black-white. Their card advantage comes from 4 mana plus sorcery speed things that probably won't resolve. Blue-black can Soren's Ransom or Lawmaster their way into more cards and counter most everything you do. And they have enough threats that the game probably isn't going super long. Still not getting in with Lawmaster. Don't want to waste a counter spell on a condemn, or more than one counter spell if it's mana leak. So we do have some instant speed action here from black white. It's not
Yeah,
100% tap out control on your own turn, so
yeah. This
that's
is
very good.
one of the few instances in their deck abusive
Probably have to
appropriation.
counter this.
It's kind of the new utter end. Kind of just like
Yeah, I
power
mean,
crept utter
just
end.
yeah, right here it's almost certainly just instant speed vindicate. They're probably not going to play it out because it probably advantages their opponent more than them. But even so, any instant you can master in this situation is probably very good, just because then you can draw off Lawmaster and get your land drops and so forth. It's definitely a think for Newland.
I think you should want to keep this.
I mean, you've set 7 cards in hand. You kind of actively want to counter things. It's not like they're going to play something next turn. Oh, and lets it go, which makes me wonder: do they have
I think they're worried about like a plane.
only
Like
one
they
counterspell?
yeah, I think if they're worried about this, they have like some sort of like they have like one counter spell. They don't want to get caught by like a planeswalker. They tap out and they use their like one or two counter spells. Or their
Yeah.
counter spells is something bad, like I don't
Yeah, I
know,
mean, it's
like
easy to imagine a 7 card hand is full of counterspells, but it could be full of unsummons.
sure. And yeah, you just jam here for black white. You gotta jam into
Yeah,
whatever.
it's not. I mean, you could wait to a turn when they tap to resolve a threat, but some of the threats have flash, so it's kind of pretty nonsense. Presumably, Newland has a counter here. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the other spike. I kind of forgot was actually legal.
I
So it's
think
like
this card is good, but I guess it is slightly better than Quench.
I think it's I mean I think it's good when you just
Maybe
have
it's a
like
lot better.
volatile
Maybe
storm
I'm
drake in
exaggerating.
your deck.
Oh
Like
yeah,
if
because
you
Drake has combo with it. That's
yeah.
true.
Oh, and they're playing
Well,
Luris too, so
Newland's
Luris could
showing some kind of weakness here, I feel. But maybe this is just I have a mana leak and no threat, and all your stuff costs 1,000.
yeah, get a Luris in your
Um,
hand while you can.
the Aether Spike works here, the mana leak works here, even if they play a land and play a 4 mana thing. So pretty safe to put Lurus in hand. Although if they had something like the 2/1 flash or even a Soren's Ransom, probably prefer to do that. It's not like you're going to tap for Lurus anytime soon, probably. Although maybe if it's your only threat and you have a, no, I don't know, up to 8 cards in hand. There's a main phase Malcolm to avoid discarding. Pretty useless into the spirit token, but perhaps the spirit token kind of turns on the unsummons a little. Another instant is available. Again, begging the question, I think you've got to let Malcolm go here. Unless you have a spell pierce, in which case that might be a reasonable thing to use. Okay. So presumably we jam something into this almost known counterspell, and then we leave spirit token back.
I wonder if there's any thought of like playing the Luris there and then maybe like pushing out guess you want to counter something. If they had spell pierce and another like 2 mana counter.
Yeah, yeah.
I like this. I like this attack. Keep the pressure going. It
Yeah,
just kind
it's
of
kind of
signals
interesting.
they don't have much. I mean, like they're this deck is like full of just like four trumps, like you said. So it seems like they just don't have very much to play.
Yeah, and maybe they're one land away from being able to jam a 4 into Mana Leak. Okay, so we're actually prepared to trade our Malcolm for the Spirit token, which just seems crazy, and we don't want to do that. We want to condemn Malcolm instead. Interesting. I would have thought trading for the Spirit token
Well, they
would
did
have
before
some
they
benefit.
block. So if this doesn't resolve, they could just choose to block.
Yeah, but why not block first? Like,
I
wouldn't
don't
you rather
know.
have a condemn for like a future threat?
They're just keeping their options open. Disruption
Oh,
Shoal for one, the hard
everybody
way.
disagrees with my idea of what the correct plays are here. Everybody wants this exchange. Well, Newland wants this exchange to happen, and Dangerfield really does not.
That's just a
Um,
strange attack, like into the token, right?
yeah, I mean, here's my token that I don't care about. Here's my Malcolm that I do
Okay.
care about. I guess the unsummons have been boarded out, so I guess kind of trying to make them do something's
All right.
a
So they go for the
non-issue.
remorse. They show three Storm Drakes, a Mana Leak, a Forbid, and a Luris.
Mm.
I think I
I
take.
see. So he wanted to trade with the token because otherwise the Drake must swap with the token. That's why he really wanted the exchange to happen, right? So that's
Oh, you could
interesting.
just play Drake on an empty board, right? So they.
You can play Drake on empty board 3/5, but you can't play it on a board with a token
What an awkward
because
card.
you get the token. Now, interesting here that he decides to activate Shambling Vent. I wonder if it would be better to keep Shambling Vent and activate it in response to Drake, forcing him to take a tapped black-white land. But I guess
Ah,
you need the lands. You need your lands, so it
all
wouldn't
right.
wouldn't be a good
They,
exchange for you.
they drew a
Which
land, so I think they're just gonna like run out every Drake here, or maybe like
yeah,
keep Mana Leak
hit some
up.
drakes and
Yeah.
see if there's a wrath. Maybe they drew. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely, six
Oh, so
power flyers.
so you have to do this if there's another creature on the board. You have to take it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So a token, the 1/1 token was actually terrible for that hand of 3/2 flyers,
Huh.
cheap 3/2 flyers, and that's why he was so determined to force the trade.
I'm learning so much. I learned that crab Crabomination's
And
not an artifact. And
possibly that's why Dangerfield was trying to condemn because he'd rather keep the token and turn off any drakes. So yeah, my confusion. These people made top eight, and I did not.
all right. Alanon has beaten XRVS in the control mirror. So we've got this is actually the last match now, somehow. The Orzhov mirror. I think XRVS's Orzhov deck was closer to Dangerfield's right here.
Okay, so we go for three playing around. Manlake, exile your graveyard, and sack a creature, just taking down one of these 3/2s, making it a lot more manageable.
Yeah, it kind of makes Aluris a bit worse. It's slowly getting to the black white deck. It's just kind of like, well, they've always been ahead, but it feels like they're getting slightly further ahead.
It did feel like we might ride that Lawmaster to victory, and we have dropped down to, you know, a 3/2 flyer,
Yeah,
Lewis, and nothing in graveyard.
yeah. Main League just kind of gets a little worse as the game goes
So
on. I
had
think I
to
would
play
have
the
just like
Drake.
kind of like I don't know if I just made like the birth, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, has to play the Drake now because there's going to be an 0/4 wall in play after that. Kind of a tricky spot for Drake this matchup. I
This
mean, I
card's
guess you are
so
pretty interested in 3/2 flyers for two, but there are, it being conditional a lot of the time is awkward. So we're going for something big. Whoa, very
this
big.
is easily gonna eat the Mana Leak in the hand.
Hmm.
It just, but again, I think it's the black white deck. With if they're not drawing a duress, they kind of have to jam.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're not going to do two of those spells in a turn anytime before you're dead, so just use it all up, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing is, if you drew a duress, you can duress. They would probably man leak it, and then you get to resolve your thing the next turn. I don't
yeah.
know.
And here
These
we go.
two
We're
three
just gonna
two probably
get
can't close it because of the shambling event and the gaining life from the birth, but maybe it's not impossible.
and they have to deal with every threat that comes about. You can't really play the Lurus because you're just gonna fear a Wrath here. You want a Lurus after the
It's
Wrath.
another giant planeswalker that will
Yeah,
completely take over the game.
just bomb after bomb is gonna happen here. And this, oh, he
It's just
can't
gonna.
really nuke this because that's
You can't
hexproof.
kill a Drake with it, so you have to go up here. That's funny.
You draw a card. Well, this could be scary. They could like draw a card here and lose like 6 life. That'd be really bad.
No, it's opponent loses, right? Oh, you
Each
mean
each
scary
opponent.
cards?
Oh, they could just lose it. Yeah,
Yeah,
they could just
yeah.
dome them. Oh god. Okay, again,
Yeah.
we can't read today. There's no readers. Wow, it's a really good bomb.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bob hurts you when he costs 2 mana, but when he costs 6 mana, he hurts them.
Yeah, I would hope
Yes, I
so.
think we
Caves.
got the
Oh,
point.
whiff.
So what are you doing if you're Newland here? You're attacking Sorin. You have
You have to
two
hit this.
creatures that are
You have to
immune
kill
to
this
it. On
Soren.
the other hand, it's just going to take over.
Yeah, you have to kill this Soren, and you can't make like 15 tokens either.
Oh, we have another flyer to flash in. So in fact, Sorin
Ooh.
is going down. Just
Unless there's
drew
like
a
a
Cave of Chaos and died.
unless there's a
Unless the
condemn
last
here.
card in hand is relevant.
Condemn
Wow.
saves the Soren.
Really, really good for Newland. Absolutely clutch. And now, this, one remaining card in
Oh,
hand
and a
for
bitter
Orzhov has
blossom.
been
Wow.
pretty good. And have 8 power and Bitter Blossom. If it's a Shambling Vent attack, we're close to dead here. If it's a 6 mana Planeswalker, okay, it's a Shambling Vent attack.
That means there's no wrath Because why would you wrath?
Yeah, you would definitely wrath
Yeah.
first, even if you were going to shamble, obviously. I mean, 17 is a healthy life total. Only one card for Newland.
Which is
Wrath
Dolores.
resets into
Yeah.
just a bit of blossom, although a bit of blossom's not nothing. Um, yeah, it's not over, but you have
Yeah.
9 power flyers, and opponent is on 9. So it's really all about the next couple turns and whether Newland drew a hard counter or not.
It's really wrath or bust here, I think.
I don't know. One of the huge planeswalkers. I don't know. A lot of them are in the graveyard, of course, but
Um, I mean, like, if they draw like Elspeth Sun's Champion, these are all like
right.
three under 4 power. That's not good.
Yeah, champion actually
Uh,
surprisingly terrible here, right? Doesn't do
right.
anything.
Gideon doesn't do anything. Kaya Intangible Slayer, I guess
What
would
about
gain some
the
life. Kaya
the
Ghost
really expensive
Assassin.
Kaya kills
That's
that
yeah.
thing?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Oh, I guess it does exile something.
the -3 exiles an enchantment or a creature or something, but not one of the drakes, and then it would die
Yeah.
to the flyers, or you could attack life total if you thought that was better. So yeah, you are right. It might be Wrath or Burst, given that the 6 mana planeswalkers that really help are in the
Ooh,
graveyard.
Vindicate. They've been holding this Vindicate
Okay,
the entire time. Oh, and they have a counter for
okay.
this? So the Shoal for 5 for 3?
Show freaking Holocaust.
They just drew that. They literally just drew that.
Pretty sick.
Oh my
So I see.
goodness. That is
I see.
the worst disrupting shoal I've
Dangerfield.
ever seen. Also the best though. It's like
Dangerfield is going to have to spend 1 life here, maybe
the
mistap.
I think they're gonna
Um,
play. They're gonna put the Kahir in their hand. They have a
oh
Kahir
yeah,
as a companion,
that's
so it's
true.
that's like the
Oh
good
yeah, that's
best
the
way to
only
use
card
your
they have. Yeah,
mana. Yeah,
it's the only option they have. Yeah,
I mean they should.
yeah, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think they're trying to figure out how to do it. Oh,
Oh,
they have the abrasive whatever.
yeah. They've chosen
But if you're
different
CD
features.
Newland, you want to do this. You it's like yes, I would love a card. Thank you. It's like
But it is also true that Dangerfield has 10 mana, so you can pay the tax on a mega drop or a wrath. Still get there.
doesn't.
Open 3. Gonna need something on board. They die next turn, even if they shamble in for 2.
Yeah, I guess the 6 mana wrath is still fine, right?
6 mana wrath is probably good here, and might lose to some counterspell. But you actually get to see your first draw before you choose whether you want the second draw, right? So if they drew a wrath, they might say no, just have more mana for conditional counterspells.
No, you have to
They
pick.
did,
If
they
you
did draw. Oh, it's the beginning of draw step before you. No,
yeah.
it's after you draw, right? It's after you draw. You can see the card that you've drawn when you choose whether you want another one or not. I think. I'm pretty sure. I haven't
Oh,
played against this card today. I should know, but
at the beginning of each phase draw step, that player may draw an additional card if they do. So you have to like decide whether or not you want an extra card, which you probably just should if you're gonna play it here. Drew a shambling event, and then they have one unknown. It's got to be something good.
somebody needs to be abstruse appropriation or wrath of God, right?
They're gonna need a wrath. I don't think a appropriation's gonna. You have to
It's
appropriate and then cast a card,
you
but
could
like
take
that's
a
like a
3/2 and then cast a 3/2 and then swap it for a 3/2. Okay,
oh, that's it.
that's it.
That was a really back and forth match. That was really close. I thought that was
Orzhov tap out control into the semi-finals. What
it's funny.
beat Aristocrats?
The red white heroic deck
Oh
from
yeah.
DL23.
And who won the other quarterfinal?
Alanon CW
No, that's the
with
one I just watched. It's
no
DL23. I think it's
no
also.
that was X. I don't remember. There's so many controls. No, I was right. I was right.
Oh, you're right. Were you
That was
okay?
Dangerfield.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Okay.
That's right. So it's the heroic deck against blue black, and the tap out control against um the other
Oh,
player.
blue black. Yeah.
Angel.
We watched the pro deck. We haven't seen that yet. We've seen all the other decks
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay. So
We'll watch
DL23
that.
against CD Newland.
I think you either go really fast or I can probably go really fast.
Yeah, it seems pretty horrible for blue black, there's chances of winning the die roll, countering the spirit dancer, not or killing the spirit dancer, and not getting overrun. But any draw involving like 3 creatures for heroic probably wins for heroic. I don't know. There's no Shram. The deck is not as good, presumably, as it was last season when it won the 500. But here it is in the semi-finals or the kickoff. So we will see.
Yeah, SRAM's been replaced by a Virtuoso, which is like kind of the same, but not really.
I do love Virtuoso. I mean, when I was playing that mono white heroic in season 29 to beat Oops, um, Virtuoso was the way you got your turn 3 wins.
Yeah, it
Spirit
is really
Dancer
good. You're
actually
right.
better here, but
So
there's
the only
potential
downs,
if you
yeah,
untap with them. It's chaos.
the only downside is like the draw. You have to target the Virtuoso, unlike the SRAM where you could just play your aura and just keep drawing. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
mean,
like
Hoplite and Virtuoso invite you to go all in on one creature and hope that it's good enough, whereas Spirit Dancer invites you to go all in one creature and have 7 cards in your hand at the end, which is definitely a different
right.
experience.
Well, I guess like you can still like Spirit Dancer and like go in on your Virtuoso. You just have to like kind of choose. You get to choose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has some play to it. It has some choices. A lot of your cards cost 1 mana. Um, Looks like no Hoplite, but we did reveal a land, so we have the second land. So presumably, CD won the die roll, which I think is really an important part of winning this matchup. So if we man leak whatever this is, Spirit Dancer, or kill it end of turn with a shoot the sheriff or something, then we're in such good shape compared to if we were on the draw here. Okay, so we just have a cutthroat. So we get to hand. Well, perhaps we still have the removal, and we just wanted to resolve the cutthroat so we can start beating down. That's pretty reasonable, yeah.
The main deck, there's not like a ton of like. I guess like they have the best removal against a deck like this, which is unsummon. There's 4 unsummons in the main deck with the blue black deck.
Pretty good.
But
Pretty
there's
good.
also like Disfigure and either Spellbomb as well, which gets around the hop like it gets around Benevolent Bodyguard pretty well.
Mm,
So as
that's
long as
pretty
like
good.
as long as a Doomblade and 2
You also
Disfigure,
swap for a Drake here. It would be kind of weird. Might be better to do that after it's got some stuff on it, even though you have to take a hit. But then you risk them playing a bodyguard, turning that off. Yeah, this is a matchup with some play to it, I guess. Quite a bit of interaction that matters from blue black.
yeah,
But
I guess having like a 2 mana control magic ish card is pretty good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you had it here, you probably let heroic untap and do a bunch of stuff, because if they had a bodyguard, they would have played it turn 1 off the snarl, and they didn't use that mana. So the chance that your Drake is going to get turned off, so why not let them make it a 6/8 with menace or whatever, and then steal it next turn? Sounds pretty great to me. Oh wait, is the taking the card for energy? Is it power or CMC? It's
It's a mana
CMC.
ballot. Yeah, it's the CMC. But
So
upkeep Disfigure.
I'll keep this figure off the super awkward Sunken Ruins. So
Yeah,
more opportunity.
funnily enough, this deck doesn't have any sort of like instant speed like protection, like a God's Willing or something like that, other than like Benevolent Bodyguard.
Yeah, I mean the trouble is those cards don't draw off um, Spirit Dancer, right?
Right. But a Glaring Aegis is gonna actually not bad. It actually pumps the toughness of the Virtuoso, so things like this figure aren't gonna be as good now. But I mean, there's plenty of other like unsummoned spells that could happen. The Connive Away a Mountain for the Virtuoso, but they're gonna just take it.
We're just taking it now,
Yeah.
and then probably offer a trade unless we have the unsummon. If we have the unsummon, this is gross. Okay, this
Okay,
is gross.
that's gross.
Ugh.
We both agreed that was really gross. Oh my
So
god, this
this,
is
I
actually
mean, it just
disgusting.
literally has to be from DL23 Spirit Dancer into Aura into Land into Aura, probably, or something along those lines. Like almost nothing else will do here. If you can make a really big hoplite, no, he cannot. Yeah, I mean, both of these decks, in a weird way, are kind of vulnerable to their like 1 or 2 threats being killed, but the blue-black more capable of doing that to the red-white than vice versa.
Like I
Yeah,
didn't
and
have that much experience with this deck last season, but like I can't believe it. There's no like instant. It's all just auras. At least this
well,
list I'm
last
looking at.
season you had Shram and Spirit Dancer, so any
Well,
card that
I'm
was
just saying about
an aura.
protection. I think of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
heroic.
for sure,
I
for sure, for sure. It would be nice to have. The question is how much can you like depower your weird two drops and still, but yeah, maybe some is right. Maybe
yeah.
some stave up with wing
I guess
stuff.
like
Bodyguard X.
all the flash auras are like blue, and as your red white deck.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you're piling up your guy. You don't even care if he dies because you're drawing cards, or I mean, you care obviously, but you don't care that much. So, but yeah, I mean, maybe a lot more vulnerable to removal. Now there's only one Spirit Dancer, no Shram. You're kind
Yeah,
of going more
there's
all in on a heroic guy and emptying your hand, and then if they have removal, you don't have protection. Bad times. Brian Bourne Cutthroat making a return to the top tables of Penny Dreadful after quite a long absence. I don't know if it hasn't been legal or if it just hasn't been good, but I haven't seen it for a long time.
I think it was legal last
Um,
season.
yeah, it
No, maybe.
used to
I
be
mean,
the threat you
oh,
were. Yeah, it
it
was
hasn't been
legal in
legal since season 30.
2016. Yeah,
I mean, I
okay,
won it with it
because
with 22. I mean, I did win
it's
with
often
Brian Moore.
been the last threat in blue X tempo or mono blue tempo that you kind of grudgingly play because it's kind of all right.
Oh, I loved
Um,
it. I loved it when I played it. It
oh
was
really?
great.
I always
Yeah.
felt it almost never made the cut for me, and other people do play it. So
It's always like the third option, but it's a really good third option when
yeah,
your plan is just to like leave up counter magic all the time.
yeah. I mean,
But this
season
is just a
three,
one of. But that being
season
said,
three,
it's there's a two of in this
yeah.
CD Newland
Oh,
list.
two. Okay, so
Yeah.
again, it's the poor cousin. It's the worst of the threats, but it's considered good enough. So now on the play it makes a lot of difference here, but not if there's a Drake involved.
Yeah,
Drakes are a
turn
real trump
one.
in this matchup.
Still no turn one bodyguard, which is the only real protection spell they have.
Yeah,
Sideboard wise, they could play like something like Orm's Chant or maybe just Orm's Chant. I guess I don't know. Like
kind of like Orange Chant though. It bogs
yeah,
down your plan, and
it's just
it doesn't even stop the Drake.
yeah. Heroic Deck
Yeah.
just doesn't have a lot of like gas for this. Like uh
Honestly, yeah. I guess there's just enough, between the unsummons and the Drakes. And the fact there's only one Spirit Dancer and the others are just heroic creatures you go all in on, maybe this is actually kind of good for blue black. Um, okay, so we're saying do what you want. I'm going to try and draw a Drake if I don't have one already. Presumably declines this draw and spams out some auras and attacks, which is, a good start. Here we go. It's
yeah, if
maybe not.
you're
It's maybe not. Yeah, so that says you can't block. I don't know if that really matters. They're unlikely to block with the Lawmaster here.
yeah,
Oh, and that's
if
it.
you're
So
heroic,
one of the
you just
weaknesses
have to
of
go
this
for
deck
it.
is that the auras tend to be red, but you have a bunch of white mana, which is funny because in the Ethereal Armor days, all the best auras were white, or at least the
Yeah.
Ethereal Armor was
It's
white.
actually
But
oh you're
yeah, it looks
yeah.
like Mr. Land Drop only played one aura,
Mm.
not wonderful, and presumably have to again decline to draw a card here.
And it's really goofy because all your creatures are white basically, and all your actions red.
Yeah,
So it's so you have to play planes or just as many dual lands as you can. I'm surprised there's actually no like Thran Portal in this deck. When you say that, like there's like zero
mm.
Thran Portals in this list.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that
playing
is
a couple of
surprising.
Rugged Prairie, which I don't really like. I don't like Prairie in this list. It could be okay, I guess. Like if you go
I mean,
like
you've got to be
Plains
able to play
Prairie.
your Hoplite on one, so that's
Yeah,
Battlefield Forge and a bunch of planes and maybe the Snarl. If
yeah.
you're playing the Snarl, you've got to play a bunch of planes and some mountains, and you've kind of almost got no room left because you don't really want more than about 20 lands. So difficult to
All
find
right.
room for Rugged Prairie, although it probably does make draws like this a lot better sometimes.
All right, so Soren's Ransom. They're gonna give them reveal Fairy Vandal and Tears. I think you just take the unknowns, like,
Pretty
and they took the
interesting.
unknowns. Yeah,
Jumped with Lawmaster there to save three. Does that imply Ritual of Soot out of the board? Does that imply something? It
Oh, you
implies
called
Ritual of
it.
Soot out of the board. There you go. So yeah,
There you
perhaps
go.
playing that Hoplite out wasn't great, although DL23 has 6 cards and 7 out and only 2 lands, so probably fine. And here, in fact, is another Hoplite.
No cast
No
on
land,
this.
no land on turn 5, and no like haste aura or anything like that. So
I feel like that's interesting. They didn't have any sort of anything
imagine,
on
yeah,
there.
pretty hard to imagine what's in hand here.
If I had to
Because I'm
guess, there's
looking
probably like a bunch of Daybreak Coronets and they can't cast.
not 6 though, presumably. There are
Yeah.
0 lands, and there are 0 other creatures. I mean, unless they have like, I would have played another Hoplite here for sure. So it's got to be auras, and there was just not one for a single red or a single white. I don't know. So now we go in on this Hoplite, and if it dies, we can probably safely concede. And they have 7 cards in hand. It's not quite that bad, but definitely looking good for the player with 5 lands in play and 7 cards in hand. This weird aura gives a really
Tangrowth
big buff.
Rage?
Yeah,
Tempest All Star, Tangrowth Rage.
yeah. It's a pretty big buff, and you really don't care about
Oh,
blocking
there's a
that.
chant. They're gonna go for the chant here.
Gotta be. Doesn't really matter to
There's
me.
actually a
But
removal spell, the Rage, Tangrowth Rage. You can actually ping yeah, one toughness thing.
yeah, Immolation has been replaced by Tangrowth Rage, I guess. I think Newland could probably let this resolve. I mean, depends on their hand. Maybe they counter it, play a Drake and whatever, but it probably just let it resolve.
Or just like play the Unsummon now.
Yeah, also that.
Or just hit a Mana Leak, okay.
I think it's worth countering. They want to do something in their main phase.
They tap their ruins though. It's kind of awkward if they want to play the Loris here, but nah, they can't actually cast Loris unless they have another black source.
Yeah, but I mean, tapping out here seems crazy.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. They have the Drake.
So, how presumably they also have the unsummon here because otherwise we load up the Drake.
But if you load up the Drake and they just unsummon it, then they've lost even more cards. So it's like you're risking just like the chance of getting super blown out.
Yeah.
But they have to go for it. You just kind of have to
Well,
go for it.
go
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to win if they let this go forever.
Another
And in
Mana
fact, there's
Leak.
an unsummon, which a mana leak rather, which implies no unsummon for sure.
This is This is kind of scary though if they don't have it. Like they're gonna take
Yeah,
another
I mean,
hit.
it's interesting
Like
that they traded a 3/2 flyer that is, perfectly fine on this board for a 5/2 attacker who's also perfectly fine on this board. Like, wasn't a great swap.
well,
Um, you know, could be dangerous. Lurus here plays a Lawmaster or a Fairy Vandal, or we're just going to play a Lawmaster and keep
I
some.
guess also you could think about if they play the Lurus, they could just keep looping the Fairy Vandal. You just like keep
That's
like
true,
yeah.
but I mean, presumably they'll put some auras on this
Sure,
Drake
but it's
next
like
turn.
you have an infinite blocker though, unless they have some sort of trampling aura that I'm
Well, they
not
have
aware of.
Menace Granters and creatures with flying can't block Granters and stuff.
Okay, well they're going the
It's
go wide
quite
plan.
quite a board for Newland. It's going to have to be some pretty special auras
Yeah.
of maximum
Declines
4 mana
declines the draw
to.
here. They have the Dust
There you go.
Corona.
Can't
Oh
be blocked by
god.
creatures with flying.
Oh god, it's almost over.
There you go. There you go.
But they're
Well,
gonna draw
it
two
can work.
cards here. I mean,
So definitely draw 2 cards looking for the unsummon. If you find the unsummon, presumably you've still got this. If you don't,
they always forget
you
about
do.
Dust Corona. It's always Dust Corona. It's always Dust Corona. What is this card? What are these cards? What is this card? This nonsense card.
I mean, it is quite the find for this deck, isn't it? It's a great work.
Oh my god, they can see we're going to
Wow.
game 3. By the way, I told you there's a cornet in the hand. I told you.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder if you hold that Drake and either take the 5 from the hoplite or chump it, and then Drake, once it has a Daybreak Coronet on it, I mean, you could die in a turn, though, of course. could just die. So it's hard to say, but
I
very
like the.
interesting game.
I mean, I like the
Maybe a
idea
third
of like
land drop on
getting.
turn
Yeah,
7 or turn 8 or something, and still won.
I think the plan they had was like blocking with lures was really good, except they just forgot about Dusk Corona.
Hmm.
That was a.
Pretty pretty interesting game. I guess this shows that the Drake alone is not pure trump to this strategy, because it really felt like Red White was struggling there, and they were able to turn a Drake swap of their only creature into a win. Did need pretty perfect cards, but those cards are in the deck.
I'm surprised there's actually no. Or they haven't really drawn any Spell Pierces either. I would really like Spell Pierce in
I
this
would,
matchup.
I
I
would,
think.
I would board out Spell Pierce in this matchup. I mean, I
Well,
guess you
it'd
could
be a
tag and make
sideboard
it.
card.
Okay, so we've got
Oh,
a
okay. There's
Phantom
Spellbomb.
Railway here.
Okay,
That's huge.
that's also really
Best
good.
possible turn one from
Yeah,
Noon.
just say like, do it.
Okay.
Come on, I dare
Best
you.
best or second best possible turn one from BL23. So Lawmaster, letting you do whatever you want this turn, no problem. Got to decline this and start stacking the Hoplite, which is then going to get bounced to hand. Pretty depressing. Or decline this and play a Spirit Dancer. Better. No third land, or at least none to show, and no play. Did they draw? They choose to draw off?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they
always
did.
gonna
They
take the
chose to
draw.
draw. Interesting. No,
I
I
would
mean
ta-
DL23 chose to draw on their turn 2.
Oh. Well,
Maybe they were land light.
I don't hate it. A lot of their spells are very cheap,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
kind of just getting
Draw up to
ahead. Like,
the most incredible 7 and then spam your hand or something.
right. I mean, the average casting cost in this deck is like, the CMC ends at 2, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
if you didn't have anything, you just like wait. You get the 4
Yeah,
mana, you
especially
can cast
if you were going
anything.
to miss a land drop as well, maybe. Looks like we
Like,
are going to miss land drop despite choosing draw once and declining it once.
yeah, like they could just like load their hand up and then just like start spamming auras. Just like wait.
Yellow gets 3 mana to resolve something here. Soren's Ransom or the Flash guy or something. Don't think you want to use the spell bomb yet. Threat of activation here just way better than just using it. It's an interesting spot. Yeah, so just resolves a threat that can get in. Makes a lot of sense. Got a draw here, presumably.
Yeah, I
Make a
think
land drop,
what's
tax
interesting
2.
about CD Wounds list is like for a flash deck, air quotes, there's not a lot of flash things. Like there's like only 2 Brineborn, 2 Amalgam, and 1 Fairy Vandal. So it's really
And
just like a.
Fairyvale, pretty terrible, right? Like, how often do you draw 2 in this deck? Only when you cycle your Aether spell
I
bombs
mean,
or you have a Lawmaster out.
we have Lore
Like,
Master. They're
oh,
so good
Malcolm also
together.
helps. Malcolm also helps.
Yeah,
That's
and they
true.
also have like illuminations and like you could cycle
They
spell
do.
bombs, like you
Okay.
said.
Okay. So there kind of
Yeah,
is. It's
there's
just about
some
enough, even
stuff.
though we're in a ponderless world.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So this
true. I mean,
bodyguard that we were praying for in games 1 and 2 looks terrible here because of spell bomb.
it's so
It's
bad now.
funny. It's so funny. Um, I mean, if you have a counterspell, you're probably saving it for Spirit Dancer, not Bodyguard, when you have an answer to the first big creature on board. So here I'm going in on Hoplite if I've got nothing better, and that's exactly what they choose to do. Their most expendable aura onto their most expendable creature.
Yeah, I like escape here. It's escape velocity. It has escape. Kind of
Right.
like, kind of like the
There's
creative
even
team
like
there didn't like it
crazy
against Lane.
scenarios where you can bodyguard your own guy to make the escape fall off to put it back on again.
It's like the Reds Griff Spoon, right? Or what was that
Oh, okay.
escape card?
That's
Set.
interesting. So we've put a better aura onto our better creature. We do get to connive either way.
I think they're just trying to go wide. I don't think it really matters
Yeah, I mean,
what's what.
you definitely put one on each for sure, I suppose. So I'm being, not really talking about much of anything here. Not a lot of difference between the two activities. One of your guys is going to get bounced with either spell bomb when he becomes too dangerous. The other one, you hope they don't have an answer to, or you can protect it with benevolent bodyguard, and you kind of get there with these 3 remaining cards in hand. Okay, so we're going to make the Lawmaster not block. We're going to hum in for 9. If we don't have anything else, probably got a bounce Virtuoso here. Taking 6 from him seems bad. But maybe we have plays. Maybe we're trying to cast a Soren's Ransom to see what our options are. No, Cutthroat. So maybe
I think you could double block the hot plate.
here, but if you're about to cast a spell, you just want to get the counter.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what it is.
Unsummon the Virtuoso, block the hot plate, just trade.
Well, block the hot light just results in your Cutthroat dying because it has prevent all damage that would be dealt because of the heroic.
Oh, yeah, right. No, did it do it? Yeah, it does. It's on
Yeah,
there.
hot light has weird abilities other than just getting +1/+1 counters. So I think you probably take the 3 here, but 3 is not a lot to take when you yourself have 7 power of creatures. So, well,
So they use the unsummon to bait
of
the
course, yeah, they get
bodyguard.
like,
Yeah.
makes sense. And so
And then they just, you're right, they just take the 3 because I forgot about the revenge trigger. That's why the card's so good. This card has a lot of text on it.
So I would say this isn't a terrible spot for heroic. The problem is that Lawmaster's going to draw them too, and if any of those draws are an unsummon or a Drake, could be pretty ugly.
Yeah, and you could just race here. You just race,
Yeah,
and you could just upkeep and summon this thing, and just like the game's over, basically.
Yeah.
And you're drawing 3 cards. You're just drawing an extra card here.
You get to loot looking for an unsummon, which is kind of unbeatable. Could just draw lands, or I don't know what exactly, but yeah, I mean, I think this turn you decline to draw the extra card, you spam on the hoplite, and you just go miraculously. None of these 4 cards are unsummons.
And you can't really attack here as heroic. You actually can't attack.
Only if you put a Daybreak Coronet on it successfully, right?
Yeah, it's the only thing you can do.
Looks like we're countering Bodyguard to keep our unsummon live. If we
so forbid?
Forbid seems most likely. 1 blue right here.
Oh, it's a Disrupting Shoal.
Disrupting Shoal, yeah. They're probably not playing Forbid. A bit expensive for Lawmaster, maybe.
I mean, it's basically Forbid mana.
So presumably this means we have an answer to Favored Hoplite in hand, and we don't want it to be turned off by the Bodyguard. But
okay, so replay the Virtuoso.
Just resolving another creature and staying back to block.
Another mana leak. Yeah, now that's Cutthroat's too big.
Now Cutthroat attacks with impunity, so does Malcolm, and that puts you to 2. And Lawmaster draws you an extra card, and Malcolm loots. So many ways to die here, not many ways to live. Just draw the extra card. Lures to hand would be a slight show of weakness here, perhaps.
Okay, ooh, good old Doomblade. Good old Doomblade. There we go.
All right, so blue, black, Tempo Flash Lawmaster Librarians into the final.
Yeah. Former 500 champion. Ended. Former 500 champion, CD Newland. Versus going to be Alanon with the control deck being Sacritor.
So the Angels went down to Endless Wraths, which kind of makes sense. You know, it's the combo is like when all your Angels snowball rather than anything else. Although, obviously bringing in the counters, holding up the counters is some pretty good counterplay to that. So either way, could see that going either way, but it was 2-0 to the black-white control. So black-white control 3 in the top 8 and into the final. Blue-black tempo 1 in the entire tournament and into the final. I'm not sure about these disrupting shoals. Seem to have mostly been hardcast so far, but perhaps they give you important game against red deck wins and things like that when you tap out for your Lawmaster. Keep your Lawmaster alive by countering the Chain Lightning and then draw into all these cards to kill your opponent or something like that.
Our chat polls up. Vote on the winner. Winners get absolutely nothing. Vote. You can vote if you want. Okay, so that was crazy. That was actually, I didn't realize that. I didn't think that hero game was going to go to game 3. I thought it was like, oh, 4 and summon, 6 on summons, this game's over. But the heroic deck put up a fight.
Pulled that out, didn't they? I wonder if it could have been played differently, but yeah, they did have the perfects to take it down. Attacking with the lethal Drake probably always a sign something went wrong.
This deck has even less lands, this black-white deck. It has
See,
less. It's 23 lands. Oh my goodness. I'm like losing it. I'm at the land counts here. Like this is really like hoping that birth resolves because it's like it's rough.
yeah,
So,
I mean, I think it's kind of almost like having four timeless dragons, although you can counter the birth and strand them once in a while.
but it's
That'd
like
be
I mean the deck is the black white deck here is like they've got there's some like theme here. I think everyone just got together and said like we're gonna play 4 Agnites Remorse and 4 abusive appropriations with 4 Kaya's Guile and 4 births, bunch of vindicates, couple rafts, less stuff with the
Price
planeswalker
Scholar is a pretty
suite.
tasty card.
Yeah. Less planeswalkers, 4 Kaya, 2 Nixilis Ignited, 1 Elspeth, Sun Champion, 1 Kaya Intangible Slayer, and 1 the Eternal Wanderer. So
Yeah, Watch
which
Wonder points out that it's a CFB versus huge finals.
teams don't
So
exist.
the
It's fine.
the two teams, if they even really exist in Penny Dreadful, have cracked. Oh,
Oh, missed the land drop, concede.
yep, a wonder,
Oh
yeah, and
no.
missed turn two
This
and turn three.
this poll.
Multi five,
The poll's
and
still
then
going. No, it's like so much
multi
more.
five, and then miss second land. So okay,
This is what
well,
happens when you play 23 lands in your like 6 drop deck with like no manipulation
you
whatsoever.
were kind of horribly vindicated almost immediately that you complained about it. So we'll see what happens in the
It's so
the
greedy.
next
It's
one.
so greedy. It's like, and I love being greedy, but this is incredibly greedy. Like, there's 0 ways to draw cards in this deck. There's like the only card draw is like Birth of Meltis. That's the only thing you can really say. It's
Well,
like
I mean Kaya, I suppose. Although actually, is 4 mana Kaya only in the board or something?
no, it's main deck. It's main deck, but you have to get the 4 mana and not die. I mean, the not dying
Interesting.
part's not hard, but it's like you have to get there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it has got there so far, but I feel like sort of mostly sorcery speed wrathy type things is exactly what kind of mana leak flash threats Law Masters is meant to prey upon. But Kaya's Guile is an instant, abstruse interference is an instant. So at least some of the time they'd be able to draw off Law Master and then make a meaningful play in opponent's turn, and then untap and do something good. So not kind of hopeless like a real true tap out control situation, but definitely advantage blue black with um, a game in hand. Double Underground River implying no other blue producing land, presumably. Life total unlikely to matter.
I think you take the draw here, right? I feel like if you're black white, I think you
If I'm
take
the
the
control
draw.
deck, yeah, I think I choose to
Yeah,
draw, make my land drop, take
like
two, don't care. I mean, maybe I upkeep or end step Kaya's Guile if I have one. That would be nice. They did choose to draw, and they did make the land drop. The game plan for black white here, I suppose, is just to keep. Oh, we do have the Kaya's Guile. Looks like, and we're gonna upkeep it.
before I see this card, I was like, oh, wait, this card's like actually interesting. I think it actually
Interesting. So has Lawmaster triggered yet? No.
no, this is
So
the upkeep.
if they
Yeah,
had waited for Lawmaster to trigger and done it in draw step, if they'd chosen to draw, they wouldn't have been able to cast anything. So that
like
was
post draw
probably
step. Yeah,
post draw pre. Probably a misstep there
yeah, good
because there's
point.
no. Well, I mean, Shining Shoal paying the two, discarding a 3 drop, I guess would work. Yeah. So interesting. Presumably, it would have been way better for Black White for that to resolve rather than to tap 1 mana of blue black, but maybe they wanted to engineer this
Oh, it's
situation.
second spell pierce. It's so brutal.
Second, you cannot play around second spell pierce. That would be
Yeah, that's so bad.
extremely upsetting for black white.
This whole last match is good, like not great, but they can pile through. Who knows? Maybe this lore master just like it's only two
I mean,
damage. It's only 2 damage a
blue
turn.
black has 7 cards in hand and did not make a land drop, so presumably no expensive things are going to resolve for Alanon unless they say, end of turn abstruse appropriation your guy untap do the thing.
Well,
And at this point,
you saw in the quarterfinals. Senior played the deck again. They had like Storm Drakes in their deck still, so Their hand can be just like flush with these like random cards that don't do anything eventually. Five
Oh,
mana
we're
Vindicate on the
going after the
land.
mana. Going after the mana here.
Oh, I don't.
Unfortunately,
That
a
never
sorcery
works
speed.
out. Like,
Yeah, and also just like doing something at sorcery speed here is, you know,
yeah,
just such a sign of weakness, right? I mean, they only have so many
it's
instances.
such a
If they don't
like
have one, they don't have one. But
the threat is not their lands. It's the Academy Lore Master. So just like not going after the Lore Master is not like it's just like a questionable play. Like
yeah,
the
I'm not
land,
sure about it because
the,
Lawmaster's going to draw you into more lands. It's not like you're going to strand them on two for the rest of the match or something.
exactly. So it's just really questionable. Like the threat is the Lore Master. Whether you think that's true or not, like it's
And
helping you, sure,
the
but
thing is, we don't know the hand of
yeah,
an on. You know, like that strange exchange over the token and the condemn and everything could be, you know,
four
very
mana,
specific
four
to.
mana birth. This does
I mean,
block. This would
let's
block if it
turn off the
resolves.
current offense. Not saying that it's going to
Yeah.
remain the whole offense for the rest of the game. Seems unlikely, but oh, we're going after Birth of Meletis
Shoal for
here.
two.
Oh,
The MVP of the I
two
think top eight is disrupting
Birth
Shoal.
of Meletis because, you know, we've got
Ugh.
to get these cards out of our hand that we're drawing two of a turn, and they can't resolve anything in the rest of the turn because they only have two mana and they chose to draw off Lawmaster. So it makes sense, right?
Yeah, at some
Makes
point you
sense.
gotta like you can't dip in this well anymore. You gotta just start playing bombs, right? That's what your deck does for black white. You have to just like hope.
I mean, I don't like my chances with my four sorcery speed, 4, 5, 6 mana cards against their seven
Ooh,
cards. Condemn is nice.
yeah. It's
Condemn is
not
something. I wonder if they can let Lawmaster go at this point. They've got seven cards in hand, presumably at least one other threat.
probably another lore
Maybe
master. At this point, they
I have
haven't had the
another.
second lore master.
Yeah, if it's third spell pierce, I would probably counter it. Otherwise, I'm not sure I'm interested in countering this. The
Well, they're
cost
under
of
the lore master tax, right? So
oh
it'd be a
god,
3 mana
yeah.
spell pierce, which is fine. Again, you would take that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the other side. So presumably they could resolve Kaya if I tap down to counter this, even if I have spell pierce. So I think you have to let that go. Although he's actually going to tap load for bomb. Okay, that's crazy. So we've just got a mana leak or a some 2 mana counter. And because that's all we have, we might as well get the
Either
spell bomb
spell
out
bomb is in
there.
the deck. That's interesting. It's still in. I guess it draws a card. I guess.
Yeah, it pumps the Vandal and not a lot else.
I guess you could bounce those like spirit tokens from the Kai's Kyle, so your Storm Drake can actually resolve.
Okay, so now we're going to undo this card advantage situation. We've got a Henge, we've got a Vent, we've got an active Kaya. So it's looking pretty good for black
Oh,
white all of a sudden from a position that was pretty horrible. I wonder if tapping for the spell bomb implied, the best I've got is manly. You can resolve a four, but I think they probably had to jam anyway, so probably didn't tell them anything.
and do you know what's absent from the blue black deck that we never really talked about? Is creeping tar pit. Doing great in these
Oh,
like kind of goofy
oh,
situations where you need to kill
interesting. I wonder how
planeswalkers.
many ones they really have that they felt they needed all untapped. I mean, all untapped is always nice, of course, but Tar Pit loves attacking Kayas.
Yeah, I'm like a big River of Tears hater, but there are two River of Tears in this deck as well. I dislike River in any
If all your ones are
function.
black or instants, River
That's
of
the
Tears is great, but
yeah.
that's a pretty specific
But
scenario.
like it's good of killing like a disfigure turn one, but you have Underground River for that. So I don't know how many like ones you really need to kill in this format right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing Knight of the Ebon Legion and Evolved Sleeper and even Dream Thief Fairy in my blue-black decks and River of Tears and then get along just great. But yeah, I agree, it's a super
I'm just
awkward lane.
maybe I'm just a big Tar Pit fan and not a big
Okay,
River of
good,
Tears fan.
very good. So it looks like Kaya might be going down to this Malcolm, unless we have some instant speed interaction. It's already drawn to and discarded two. So we've got an Abstruse right now. Do we got some kind of counter for it?
Oh yeah,
Just
master.
return it to hand.
Do it
Okay. Well,
again.
maybe we
Do it all
played
over again.
immediately.
They have a Kaya's guile though. This might be a time to check fire it off. No? Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe make them tap the mana to resolve it again and then.
Yeah, that too. Okay, they're
Yeah,
going for it.
he is going to do that. I mean, it makes sense, right? Clearing the Kaya here is just so important. And lo and behold, we're going to make a 1-1 turning off the Drakes and kill this Malcolm, or maybe exile the graveyard because of.
No, I like the
Maybe
one
go with one.
one. We saw
Yeah, I
last
mean,
time how like nuking the Drake is like really or nerfing the Drake is really
nuking
good.
Drake is great. Nuking Lewis from getting this Lawmaster and this Malcolm also not terrible. So it was a choice for sure.
Alright, Lurus goes to hand.
Lewis to hand, definite show of my hand is full of unsummons and drakes and nonsense. Although actually, if I had an unsummoned drake, I might do something with it this time.
Yeah. Scary
I
blink
don't know. They
here.
can't give it a hold up mana for yet another mega threat. But yeah, presumably not too much.
Why are they coming with the Shambling Vent here? That'd be interesting. If they don't have any like big drop, I think you're just actually coming with a vent. Like if you unsummon the vent, it's like not like you're not really worried about that. I
What
think
would
it's
you do if
black
you have a
white.
5 and no land? Just come in with the vent. Activate it.
If they had a 5 drop, I would just play the 5 drop at this point.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I don't
I
think
think
they.
Spirit stays back here. No, Spirit does not stay back. It's only really Malcolm that gets hosed by Spirit staying back, and even
Yeah.
then you maybe want Spirit around because of Drake. Okay, so we didn't want to play anything into that open mana. We're just going to activate Hinge, presumably, or cast Instance. Here's the famous River of Tears. Here is Lurus. And then you're just playing a Lawmaster here. Let's
Yeah,
play a.
I like Lore Master, or even like Spellbomb would be not bad. Yeah,
Okay.
just like just start drawing cards, or
Lurus has to die now, or not. And we're
yeah, I
going
think if
to
they
Ursa.
this is kind of nice. This if they do this, then they could get it back. They could play their own. They could play the lures here. Wow, and they conceded because they could just loop the birth, and then that would just like gain them all this
Yeah,
life, get them all these lands. It'd be
crazy,
nuts.
crazy good, isn't it? They
Wow, what
probably
did they
bought that.
have?
Yeah,
They must
all
just like
down.
bricked completely. I feel like they had a bunch of drakes in their
Maybe
hand.
a mana leak and some drakes or something. Yeah.
Wow, we were just like counting out this black white deck, when all of a sudden just kind of like crawled
At
back.
one point, black white was like 3 cards in hand, blue black on 7, Lawmaster in play, and it just seemed like they were going to tap for some mopey stuff, get countered, and lose. Soon enough, blue black would have more of a clock than a 2-3, but most of that did not happen.
I mean, when you look at these like
I mean,
blue
at one point
decks,
they were disrupting shoaling a Birth of Meletis because why
yeah,
not? Because opponent was kind of locked into not being able to do anything else.
I
That
mean,
turn, and they had
you
so many
definitely
cards in
counter
hand.
that. You definitely have to counter that. I think
Yeah,
it's just like
you're drawing up to 9 in your next draw step, so you just use any card to do anything.
right. I'm
It's
just saying that
crazy that they went in that situation to losing. Like, what a catch up!
like with these
Quite a few
decks,
games
it's like you can
in
only like one for one them so much, and even though you're getting 2 for 1s from the floor mass, but you have to kill your opponent at some point. And this is where I think the deck can kind of struggle between like we're talking about like the Brineborns and the Fairy Vandal you don't like, but those Vandals get big really quickly if you have a
Yeah,
fairy like a
and
Vandal
Lawmaster,
Lore Master.
yeah, these decks play like in the like the Delver versions, maybe play like 12 creatures, but I don't think you can really count Lawmaster as one of those 12 because
Right.
it doesn't
It's just like
ride it to victory. It's more like an enchantment that
it's like
sometimes.
a yeah. I was gonna say it's like an attacking Howling Mine for more or less.
Yeah, yeah.
But you do need to kill your opponent at some point. So that's where I could see the
Let's
struggle. The longer the
try and
game
do it.
goes, it's like it's gonna get. Ooh, I love the Bitter Blossom term too.
Okay, so we have a threat a bit more effective than the 2-3. We plan to ride to
Yeah.
victory. There are various answers to this in the white black deck, but they all cost 3 or more
Mm,
mana.
I mean, it's only like Vindicate and the Appropriation. That's really it.
Right, right.
Kaya's God doesn't do it. Like none of the Planeswalkers will do it.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. You can
I guess
can you fit on
I
a
guess the 6 drop Kaya can do
Motherfucker
it, but
only and win the game? Maybe they'll gain life. Okay, well, we're not going to try and do that. We're going to run out a Lawmaster and try and run away with it.
Yeah, this is just spell pierce here. Like they just hold up spell pierce for whatever.
Yeah, if you have spell pierce, seems really easy to run out
Like
Loremaster here. If you don't, maybe you want it anyway because you're down to 4 cards.
like try to vindicate whatever here. You have to try, but
Yeah, especially, depending on what you have, maybe you have more than one. Okay, there's the
yep, there
spell
we go.
pierce, which makes the play make really a lot of sense. Kind of a no-brainer. And so now the fairy rogues trying to take it down.
I like the classic art. I don't really like this art. I like the classics.
Yeah, I
I'm a
agree.
big fan of this. I'm anti borderless card. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different eras of Magic design in play right here. The Future Sight frame, a kind of full art Weirdy Island, alternate art borderless, token, a 10th edition Painland. It's, the Japanese planes. So
no,
what
this
art?
is oh you're talking about the caves temptation, yeah. 4 mana
We're playing
birth.
once
Love
again. We're
it.
playing a 4 mana birth.
Love it.
I mean, the
No,
only
this
thing
is like
about
the
running.
engine. This is the engine of the deck. They have to have these things because
Mhm,
they can't
mhm.
draw anything else. Like you cannot draw lands without this card. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you need to
what?
make the land drops if you want to play six
Yeah.
drops.
Oop, and it turns Soren's ransom. I find making these piles very not easy. I
No,
don't know.
it's yeah, it's a little
It's
game of
never
like
yeah.
even just working out what do I want them to have and not have is pretty difficult. Like what's really important in this situation in this matchup. But then you have to think if I showed them X and Y, would they take it? And is that what I want? Like over and over again for each possibility. It's a little something.
Yeah, with like Factor Fiction, you could like 4-1 people and kind of like goof with them. But
I
like
think
these,
my
was
favorite
like
play.
you could never 3-1 or something,
Oh,
right?
you can. You absolutely can. So if you have 4 terrible cards, you put the
Yeah,
3 best ones in the top as if to say, I don't care about these. I'm terrified of you getting this other thing, and then they get,
that's
basic island.
so much.
But
That's so much
you
game.
have to get kind of lucky for that to work out. But it
That is,
is, I think, correct in those scenarios. I've certainly done it successfully.
I love gambling too, but not that much. I can't gamble that hard.
I mean, the 3 have to be pretty useless as well. Otherwise, it doesn't really work. But yeah, sometimes it's 3 useless and 1 good, and that's just horrible because you
All
do 3
right,
1, they take the 1 and
Lurus
can't
in
do
the
anything.
hand, and we are just riding this bitter blossom.
So 7 cards in hand, and our best play was Lurus in hand.
Well, I think at this
It's
point in the
very
game,
interesting.
where they're like 4 to 5 mana, like any mana leak is still good here. It's gonna
Yeah, so
stop.
just like I might need this later, and it's kind of free to do now. Is that the
Yeah,
idea?
like they're not gonna play the only two spells they can play in a turn at this point are like Vindicate plus like Agonizing Remorse if they
Mm.
have it in their deck. But I think they took a card too. I think the black white deck also took a card
Okay.
with the Lore
He
Master.
did, yeah. So he can only play a 2 mana spell here.
Oh, 3 mana
And
duress.
he's in address against someone who's about to draw 2 more cards. So they've
They
got 3
revealed.
mana, a Disrupting Shoal, an Unsummoned still in the deck, an Aether Spellbomb, and an Underground River. So they just take
I
Mana
think
Leak, I
I
guess.
think you have to play the unsummon if you're
I did take Mana Leak.
I'm surprised they didn't. Oh, yeah, I guess it's
I,
Sholby.
Antima is in the deck for what now? To get a Planeswalker when it turns into a creature? I don't know. Maybe the CD Newton just didn't have a 60 that he wanted to present for this
I guess
situation.
unsummoning a Shambling Man is fine in some
True,
aspects.
true, true.
You
So we're
if
finally
you
getting into like an actual amount of damage, like a Delver Word 3.
all right.
Um, we've got a Mana Leak and Unsummon, a Disrupting Shoal, and Aether Spellbomb, Allurus in hand, and some other cards.
Yeah, just one extra card. Oh, they did play the river. Yeah,
They played their rivers. So there's 2 unknowns, yeah.
all right.
So maybe we can do
So
something around a Mana Leak here. Looks like they didn't draw, so this time they are going for a spell, and this plays around the Mana Leak, so it makes sense as the spell
it doesn't play around the
ability.
shoal. They could just shoal for 3.
Yeah, yeah, and that allows them to resolve something for 3 mana, which the best thing would be Vindicate. So I suppose you do shoal for 3 here.
I think you want to keep this Bitter Blossom. Unless you play Lurus Bitter Blossom, you don't care. You could just, but it taps you out, like you said. Once they draw a land, they have to draw a land there.
I don't think there's a three you're scared of, and they've already played a land, so I think you do shoal this.
Well, I'm just
If
saying
you
if they could let it go, but then next turn they play their own Lurus and just Bitter Blossom, play the Bitter Blossom back again.
Yeah, and
That's like
possibly
the
they're getting to the point where the shoal is the best counter in a weird way, and the mana leak, which is known about, is bad.
yeah.
So maybe they want to keep the shoal for this sort of crazy possibility of tapping 7 lands to counter
Ooh,
your
I
5 drop.
this is
Because on the
great.
unknowns is pretty good.
Illumination is so good here. It's just
So drawing to 10 here.
no, you can't draw. I
Very,
think you have to play the Lurus. I think you can't not play Lurus here. I think just getting the Bitter Blossom down is going to be really strong.
are you then playing something from your graveyard? I mean, you're
Yeah,
tapping
you're
very
playing the
low.
Bitter Blossom. You're going to play the Bitter Blossom for Lurus.
That's tapping very low to a deck with 6 mana planeswalkers that do things like nuke everything except one creature.
Well, it depends on what they drew off the high illumination. If they didn't draw a land, then they could. Then they really have to think about that then,
Yeah,
because they just
yeah. I mean, going to, I guess, Lurus Bitter Blossom and play 2 mana up is maybe fine. You know, the most you can do is Wrath me, but I'll still have my Bitter Blossom kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, that being said, it's like they could just sit on the 4 tokens they have right now and just attack a bunch. Like they could counter
Yeah,
back with like maybe like cat
like that idea.
defend.
Pretty hard to get through a mana leak with anything super good. I
Well, if they
guess
have a
I guess
wrath, if they could just wait
so
for one more
a
land.
Wrath you can shoal.
They
A
didn't take the
Wrath you can
card,
shoal.
so they had the land. I think they're gonna go for Loris Bitter Blossom here.
Maybe just Lurus? No, that's probably crazy.
No, that's terrible. It's like you have to if you're gonna run this out, you have to get value out of it now because
Yeah.
you risk getting wrath here.
We
Oh,
have exile your graveyard on the start of turn.
oh, this is great
This
because
probably
then
takes
now you have to
early.
now you have to either mana leak or if you have a shoal for 3, if they kept forbid in their deck, they can shoal for 3, which is the reason they keep forbid in the deck or ransom. They have
Black White
ransom.
is really trying to open a window here to resolve something punishing.
This game's great. This game's been really good. I don't know. This is a
Yeah, I mean,
really interesting game. Wow, they let it resolve. So they
so they could do
sacrificed. Wait,
a
what is?
round they can save the Lurus with the spell bomb if there's a Wrath, even though they can't counter the Wrath.
Right.
That's nice. That's
So they
definitely
sacri. That's so interesting. The CD Newland sacrificed the Lore Master in lieu of like having all the tokens.
flyers, baby.
Yeah.
We don't. Yeah,
Why?
once our opponent gets to a certain amount of mana, maybe we want to stop drawing them into extra cards.
All right. Here's a Kaya. It's
All
really
all
big.
resolve seems very hard for him to have
Yeah.
the right stuff. There's a shoal, a mana leak, an unsummon, and 3 unknowns in hand.
Right. You can only shoal with the another illumination against the Kaya, and this is gonna pop tokens for 2 life.
Oh wow,
Eh,
that's crazy. That costs you 2 life. Yeah,
yeah.
and Kaya's just gonna die now.
No. You could block. You could block the lures with the wall
Oh, only
token.
3 unblockable. Yeah, only three
Yeah.
flyers. So you're unsummoning both the walls.
I guess. Yeah. You could. Yeah. You could lures the
We
spell
unsummoned
bomb.
one with Spellbomb, but we did not use our other unsummon because we wanted to keep it to save Lurus, maybe.
Oh,
So,
okay. They're just gonna use the
oh,
lures. So just
interesting. We
that's the same
Spellbomb
thing.
from the graveyard first
Yeah.
here.
Because you could just keep the spell bomb in play. Worst case, you draw a card. They have their own. As long as the lure stays on the field, they have their own lore master without the penalty. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So Kaya down here. Yeah, I don't know if I loved
Well,
Kaya
not
here, but
exact. I mean,
maybe.
yeah, they could have
I
like
mean,
a
it's
Kyle.
gained 6 life. Are they attacking Kaya even? They
They
don't
all
have a
attack
counter.
Kaya. Yeah, Kaya's down.
You have to. Yeah.
So this is great. They have Mana Leak and Disrupting Shoal for 3 up. Unless they drew like a 4. They don't have any 5s, I don't think, that they can play. But
So yeah, ideal play here is a 5 that completely turns the game around. But a 4 that completely turns the game around And another four that complete the game round's also good. Maybe just Vindicate Lurus. Then you just unsummon it. I don't know. It's not really a winning game, is it?
So they're going for the Edict plus make a blocker.
Non-entwine.
Yeah, if they entwine, they
Blocker.
just get mana leaked into oblivion here. So,
Yeah. Blocker can be
but this is a good two for
useful.
one. This is a great 2-for-1.
I don't know if it's that good.
Well, I mean, it's gonna all the black white deck wants to
We,
do is buy time, play around these
yeah,
goofy counter spells, and just buy time because they're gonna get like
definitely.
beat by the spell bomb. The spell bomb will either like bounce a sphere token or draw cards. Either are really good for
Yeah, Spellbomb
CD.
also bouncing a potential Shambling Vent attack or Shambling Vent block.
Yeah, this is gonna eat the mana leak. There's no
Yeah,
way this
so we
doesn't
just have
play.
to. So presumably Alanon has another meaningful card in hand that made it worth getting the mana leak out of here, or maybe
I
they're just
I had to
hoping to
guess it's
draw
a
a card.
wrath, but then again, like like you said, the spell bomb is really good against wrath.
Spellbomb really.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm loving
tight.
this. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
it's an interesting game. Definitely a tight spot for black white. Not inconceivable that they find a way through. The only known card now is Shoal, but there are 5 others. Down to 8. On-board way to deal with a Shambling Vent attempt to block or attempt to attack. Kahira still
ooh.
in the companion zone. Drew a
Yeah, you could run
Shambling
out
Vent. Presumably.
they could run out the Kahira right now
Could,
if they
could
wanted
attack
to.
with 2 Shambling Vents? Or
I
try and block
guess
with 2 Shambling Vents?
I guess running out a single creature is not that great because of the spell bomb. Like you're always gonna be under the spell bomb now, so you have to like play
Yeah.
around. I guess you can't just run out Kahira. But yeah, double vent seems fine. But then that just trades. Well, I guess that's really good. Yeah. So they can't just like run in with the lures.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's just very rogue. So we don't feel like we have enough to handle just a double Shambling Vent activation. So the game
But they're
continues.
so far ahead in terms of like card
Only with
advantage. It's
7 cards in hand,
insane.
drawing 2 cards a turn that
Yeah.
has a lure that's very difficult to kill, maybe impossible, depending on the
Oh.
hand. So
This is why
it's
like
gonna have to
I think this
be
these builds are so insanely like top heavy. Like
it's
this is
an
doesn't. I mean, this
appropriation.
is. I think
Yeah,
that's
just
fine.
top,
Like I
yeah, just
guess
top
I don't
four
know, but
with Spellbomb for it.
it's so top heavy.
You're coming in for 4 with the vents here.
Yeah, they're
It's
just
a
top
meaningful
decking.
adjustment. It's a meaningful adjustment to your life total.
Yeah, come on in, right?
Here they come.
Yeah,
Possibly getting unsummoned, but
or they have a
at least
flash
on
blocker.
board. Yeah, yeah. Flash in a 2/1 and then cast enough spells to make it big and eat one of the vents or something gross like that. Yeah, if this is your play, it's not super hot, but it did take it back up to 11.
I think would have like putting the Kahira in my hand just while like just gain two
And just
Kahira in a
exert
hand. Yeah,
Yeah, you might be right.
just like get something out there. I guess, but like, you could get like Storm Drake. You don't want to get Storm Drake here. That'd be the worst. If they
Funny
kept
that
it,
the
I doubt they
405.
kept it at this point. I doubt they probably kept it in their deck, but they're low in win conditions. All right,
Yeah,
we're
well,
all right. We're back here.
we were talking about this spell bomb still being in the deck post board, but it has
It's been amazing. I didn't
kind
really.
of soloed this
I did
game, right? In a
I
way,
did not think about this
soloed it.
interaction of just like looping this like this.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, you played the black one with Lurus to kind of keep opponent empty-handed and make you discard in your doorstep.
They
It's pretty
did.
good.
Oh my god! And they
There it
concede.
is.
Drawing
This
cards
is
were
the
too
closer.
good.
Blue black Lurus Librarians beats Orzhov Control in the final. Pretty
What a
nice.
match! That was actually a great match.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the blue black games were good.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
that
Not
was
the
actually.
predicted winner pre-tournament though, but probably everyone will play it now, with or without training grounds.
What a what a great day. That was good. That was a good tournament. That was a good top eight. A lot of Orzhov
Yeah,
though.
very good tournament.
I
A lot of
oh my
different
god.
decks.
I feel like they just like grinded their way into this top eight these Orzhov decks, but I can't endorse this deck at all. I'm like I'm happy for Aladon, but geez, some of it is like it's so top heavy.
Yeah, it's all about just doing something super good around about turn 4 and hoping that catches you up, I guess.
All right. Do you want to do an analysis, a deck
Yeah, yeah.
analysis? Okay.
Yeah, let's look at the top 8 at least. We kind of talked about some of them, but we can go through them quickly.
Just push us through real quick so I can do this better. Yeah, Orzhov was really good in Angels. That's right. A lot of Rafts. I feel like the Sacritor's list could be like that should be the most popular Angel list. That was a really I thought that was a really solid list.
It is interesting to have access to the counters, even if it's only post board, so that you can kind of avoid
And but even still, they were
the
playing
combo and
even like main
wrap
deck. They had
thing.
Linvala, the Seagate,
Oh
whatever,
yeah, like doing a Boromir
Seasgate,
impression, but
whatever.
also an angel. That's nice.
Right. So, but I'm gonna look at gathering now. Let's talk about the winner here, CD Newland on blue black lore master. A lot of unsummons, a lot of mana leaks.
Yeah,
Like
so it's interesting, isn't it? These decks often in Penny Dreadful are mono blue, and they play unsummon because they've got nothing better for removal. But this deck is blue black, has access to removal, but is still playing the unsummons because it's a combo with the 4 volatile Storm Drake that lets you just
take a thing.
control magic
Yeah.
for it's really just 1 card and 3 mana, right? Because you get the Drake back in your hand at the end.
Right. Wow. Took a round one loss and just ran the table. Love that. That's the me. They did the
Yeah, it
me.
does seem like this deck would maybe struggle against red deck wins. Your counter spells are pretty useless, maybe even terrible. Unsummons don't do that much against haste creatures. Swapping for their creatures sucks. Yeah, this actually seems like it has a really terrible red deck wins matchup.
Oh, they beat
Maybe
two
this.
heroic decks. This deck feels like it stomped on heroic with the storm drakes and the unsummons.
Yeah, 4 Storm
But
Drake, 4 Unsummon. Seems like
angels
you
beat
need
two
something
control decks,
bigger.
three Orzhov decks too. They went through three Wow,
I mean, it really feels like
they had the
you can
gambit here.
resolve your 2 mana threat or your flash threat. Maybe it's both 2 mana and a flash threat, and then you can counter the things that matter. Maybe you're drawing extra cards with Lawmaster. Like, there's definitely a plan there. I don't know if it's like a 75% win plan or a 51% win plan, but it's definitely a plan. Probably pretty good.
Yeah,
Um,
you draw
yeah,
enough
you
cards, you
can
can eke
probably
out
play true
wins. It's
aggro,
really
and there's probably there's ritual in the sideboard for that, obviously.
yeah. I love the ritual.
13 creatures, including 4 Lawmasters. So it's pretty hard, actually, for this deck to beat down. Fairy Vandal only gets big in certain scenarios. Malcolm only hits for 2. So you end up playing kind of a controlling game if you can't Drake for something really strong. So it's maybe
Yeah,
more of a control deck than it looks, although I don't
it's
know how many control
it's
decks want Fairy Vandal. So
it's definitely more
interesting.
control-y. Like the mana base, the blue black mana base is so good this season.
It
Like
is.
I've
I
learned
wonder
that
if you
with
could
like
fit a
Storm.
Castigar or two
So
in here.
like having
You know.
Lurrus in this deck is I think it's pretty nuts.
Oh yeah,
It gave you
that's why
that
you have to.
inevitability. That's that's a thing. Like these decks could like they were pretty good. Like if you get Lore Master down, but when you if you dealt with that and you dealt with other things, and it just seemed like the kind of like flop. But
Mm.
yeah, just having Lurrus just gets that all back, and I know we saw Lurrus
Interesting that the
Spellbomb.
Bitter Blossom is sideboard. I guess that's an attempt to work around the situation where they just 1 for 1 your threats. Don't care too much about
Yeah,
anything else. You're kind of weak to condemn in a way because it's hard to conditionally counter a condemn forever, and you only have 13 creatures, 4 of whom have 2 power. But of course, a Bitter Blossom is a different kind of threat. Although, these black white decks have 8 main deck answers to it or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was very impressive. Every card seemed really good. I haven't seen Long River Spool play yet, but it is Counterspell. It is essentially Counterspell.
Yeah, I mean it's
I
more
didn't
of a remove soul.
I didn't know this card
But if
existed, but
but if
I
you
guess
do
it's like
have to counter a Eureka or a
yeah.
Genesis, you'll be very glad you did.
This is basically the out of air of this season. Like the out of air is really good.
I think it might actually be better than out of air, right? Like you'd rather like if there's any chance you're tempoing or your opponent's doing something very fast, this is better. And out of air is only better, I don't know what, when you have plenty of mana and Your opponent is doing a specific thing.
All right. Second place. Put three people, the archetype at least, put three people into the top eight here. Uh, Black White Control. No creatures, all spells. A
Very cool.
CFB special, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Team deck.
yeah. A lot of team play. We don't team up as mods. We just do our own thing. We're just like
That's
the
not
event.
true. You and I will.
Yeah. I give advice and then it holds people, but other than that,
Two Wrath,
like we
two
don't
Day
work
of
on
Judgment.
decks.
Two Wrath, two Day of Judgment makes me want to play something that can regenerate really badly.
Well, this I think it's to play around meddling mage. I think that's
Yeah,
fine.
I get it.
Yeah,
It's just makes me want to play like some random Thrun that.
gotta play a lot with troll.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then you get abusive, whatever. I can't say this
It's
word.
true.
A
Yeah, this card
butcher.
is really interesting. Putting a extra mana on Vindicate, but making it not hit lands and be colorless and do the whole hostage taker
Yeah,
thing.
a lot of different.
It's a lot
Yeah,
to
it's
evaluate. You know, it's a rare from MH3, so it's probably busted. That's my basic evaluation. But
they just power crept Utter End. This format has played Utter End in its day.
oh,
We have played
for sure,
tons of Utter End, so
for
this is
sure, a
way
lot of
better
utter
Utter
end
End.
out there. You know, do you need the white
Yeah,
splash in your demonic rising deck? If you do, utter end is your guy. I mean, we
and
were excited when we first got Vindicate for sure.
right. But and like you said, like slapping on the void on this is like kind of just overkill because now like things like I guess, but I mean niche case, but benevolent bodyguard is not good, or like
Yeah, but
sort of
also
sort of light and shadow. This
opponent
doesn't like nuke your
opponent
deck.
casts gifts, untaps, casts Unburial Rites, puts Iona into play. Well, hey, I did the most powerful thing my deck is capable of, and you're just like, take that,
Yeah,
and maybe later I'll even cast it. Yeah. So it's really strong when your opponent's doing expensive things or things they invested a lot, you know, non-land permanents they invested a lot into.
yeah.
Feels like
Um,
this deck maybe struggles against pure aggro red deck wins kind of stuff. There's a little bit of life gain.
yeah.
There's
They took
some
they took a
poor
loss against
combining.
aristocrats and then kind of ran
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me too much.
beat aggro
And then
slide
I guess, you know, part of the thinking
into
here is
angels.
let's crush angels,
Oh yeah,
right?
3 wins against angels in this run.
Yeah, so even you know, even the planeswalkers are really good against angels.
Like I
This
said,
particular one.
like I've been lamenting. There's way too few lands in this deck. Like Birth of Meltis can't just save you all the time. You have to
I mean,
like
23 lands gets you to 2 and even to 3, and Bertha Militis gets you the next one. So I don't think it's
I don't
insane,
know.
but
I think
yeah,
let's give me some
you're
like
taking a
timeless
risk there.
dragons or
You're
something.
taking
Give me a
Timeless
timeless
Drag's
dragon.
incredibly good. You could not play Coherent in the sideboard if you had Timeless Dragon, but
Oh, okay. But,
I don't know if that matters.
but they never like put. They barely put here in the hand. I don't know.
I mean, it's a pretty thin companion as companions go, isn't it?
What is this card? Stargaze.
It's a card draw spell.
Wow.
It does cost you life.
Just play. I feel like Arena would be better. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem super good to me. I played it in the
I guess it's
beta
like
of
a giant.
Furious. It was uneffective.
I guess it's like a giant impulse or like flash of insight or something like that. I don't know.
The fact
Or
that
you
you
want to?
lose life puts me off as well. Anyway, maybe
Yeah.
it's the best option.
Okay. So going to the top four. Going DL23 playing the heroic deck from last season with
Mm-hmm.
some losses, like you
Lost
said.
Shram, gained
Yeah.
Illuminator Virtuoso, so more all in. Lost Immolation, gained Tangrath Rage. That seems like a downgrade, but it's not always a downgrade.
Daybreak
Joker's
Cornet.
one.
Game Daybreak
Oh,
Cornet. We saw that come back.
Daybreak Coronet is a pretty big one for Let's
Yeah.
Jam auras on things. I would
Hard.
say I would
hard.
guess this deck is slightly worse now, but it's it's the same idea pretty much. Shram was always quite a bit worse than Core Spirit Dancer. Core Spirit Dancer would have been more of a loss. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, Like this deck doesn't really do much.
you take
I
two losses in
just
this.
I struggle with the land mana base here. Like you said, like I don't like Rugged Prairie. Threatened Portal is legal. Like it's kind of a tough ask, but I guess like Prairie's
You're
fine. But
very
like
rarely playing a fourth land, so I think you probably
yeah,
want fourth Ran Portal before you want anything else. The only thing is Fury Calm Snarl. If you're really in on that, then you need a critical mass of mounts in place.
That's
So maybe you can
true.
just do
Yeah.
without Fury Come Snarl
Like
and
these
have the
just could be,
transport.
yeah, these could just come with the portals, and then that makes maybe like Clifftop retreat better. Like maybe Clifftop gets a
Yeah,
little better.
yeah.
Um,
Fourth round portal for Battlefield Forge 6 planes is a way better sweep for playing your one drops on turn one. And then a lot of those cards are then planes in play, making Clifftop Retreat okay? Question
yeah.
mark. So I think
Um,
it's something like that. But yeah,
what do you think
definitely a
about
tough one. I doubt you can get it to a perfect state.
what do you think about only two Coronet main and one in the side? It's kind of an interesting.
Double white, but almost all your lands make white in this particular build. In fact, all no 15. So it's nearly well. It's probably enough for like a turn three, turn four coronet. And I mean, it was the best card in Bogles, apart from the Bogles, I guess. So question mark on that one. Does cost 2 mana, but you can't really
Yeah.
function with less than 2 mana. So
Uh, let's try to think of like the. Oh, they also lost Solidarity Cartouche. That's a really big loss as well.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of the best 1 mana auras in the format, and it's white. So now we've
Right.
got Glaring Aegis in here, which sucks, but at least it's white.
I like
Yeah,
Ages because a lot of the removal like between like Chain Lightning and Burst Lightning, if you get this on anything, it's not gonna get Chain Lightning at all. Or
yeah,
like
yeah.
Disfigure. People
Against
are
red,
playing Disfigure
red.
now, so
Hmm.
things like that. Like I'd be
Yeah,
interested to see like this deck go more white, or maybe just mono white. Maybe there's not enough stuff for mono white, but you could just play a mono white heroic deck with just like
yeah. Mono white with 4 coronets, 20 planes.
get some like
Yeah,
God's Willings in here or something. I'm just like that was a lot of thing where they had to go for it every
mm.
time, and it just felt so
Is there,
scary.
is there any sort of set of matchups where you're relying so much on like a sideboard pop that you can't give up the red? Because the aura
It's a good
quality doesn't seem
yeah.
insane to
It's
me
a
in
good
red. I mean, it's
juke.
probably even worse in white. But
It's a good juke against like decks that like have some sort of like a bunch of creature hate. So like
mm,
pile like the black white decks, they have piles of
mhm.
wraths, things like that. So all right, I'll just price you, whatever.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to see if this is a player this season, or if it's been depowered, or if a different version is better.
Yeah, I mean they lost to like aristocrats, the black white deck, and then the CD New English, which I thought was really close. I thought at least I mean, game three didn't feel that close, but that was very like interesting. They got the run back on the aristocrats, so a lot of I think this deck could just like maybe tweak a little bit with the mana bases. I think the Thrain Portals would make this deck better over Snarl, and
Mhm.
then you can maybe like fit in more. I thought Cornet was really good. Cornet was the only reason they won that one
Yeah, I mean
game against CD
that
Newland.
game made both the Corona and the Coronet look nuts.
Yeah, I thought it was like, wow, this is the only card that could save him right here, and it's like awesome. All right. Another top four is Sacritor with Angels Blue White Edition. There were actually several
Mhm.
different versions of Angels in this tournament, but Sacritor's the top Angel player with Blue White, splashing
Three,
for
three
Watch.
legends as 4 ofs, 2 legends as 3 ofs. So
Yeah.
definitely some awkward hands possible.
Um.
But presumably, if
Oh,
your
I did.
legends live, you win the game. So you're
Yeah.
okay with it.
Yeah. Between like Denik, Linvala, Lyra, Giada, Aaron, and Giada, tons of
Like some
legends.
of these cards, or some pairs of these cards, just absolutely dumpster things like Red Deck wins. Like if your opponent goes Bishop of Wings into like any relevant angel, you're already just dead, aren't you? You can maybe kill the angel, giving them a 1/1, but they already gained 4 life and they still have a 1/4 blocker, and then they just untap and do it again.
Yeah. A lot of people are playing Denik like a lot, and it's just like incidental hate against like what is it? Gifts on give it, gifts
Yeah,
rights, and
it's good against gifts. And I guess anyone doing weird things with Hermit Druid or whatever, at least he investigates and some I don't know. Yeah, could be stuff.
that's why I don't like
Recruiter was main decking Sulfuric Vortex as Jace, which is one way to try and still have gamers red deck wins against Angels. But I think also the creatures are much bigger and start coming down almost immediately. So would Sulfuric Vortex even do it? They just fly over for the victory anyway. I don't know. Maybe not.
yeah. I
Maybe
like
you can
actually
win.
I love Watcher with Linvala and like just like the reduction makes you get on the board faster, so you're kind of I guess you're like theoretically better in the mirror, where you can get your Lyras down faster, and you're like, or you can go like double resplendent at some turns, something like that.
Yeah, I
So
mean, there's some good
Aaron and
good
Giotto's
ideas
like card
for.
advantage, almost. I
I
guess I don't
find
know.
the Obscurus storefront and brokers hideouts pretty interesting. That's a concession to pop. I mean, you could play kind of
They
quotes better blue white
so
mana base.
so basically, if you have like a steel seraph and something like a bishop of wings, you need to or something that the card
Oh,
need to
it's
gain
tricky
4
without
life.
life gain. It can be the
Yeah,
best.
it's
Life
just
gain you need
incidental
turn,
life gain.
play
Yeah,
angel,
yeah.
get
Yeah.
free angel. Yeah, that makes some
So
sense.
yeah, it's incidental life game. That's
And
how I see it.
there's no ones in this deck at all. So, your first tap land is free, turn one.
Right. I wonder
So
if
only
you.
two counter spells in the main, but another six in the board.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think that's fine. The things you want to counter are things like rafts, and like Linvala does that pretty well.
yeah,
And then sideboard, like you said, you get more rafts,
yeah.
or
And
you get more
against
anti-wrath cards.
a lot of decks, all you want to do is play an angel every turn and have it snowball, and you know,
Yeah, this is the big reason I think I want to play blue white. It's because this is also an angel, Linvala, Shield of the Seagate.
So it's like it's not quite as good as Boromir from last season in terms of hosing stuff, but it does all the same stuff and it flies
Right.
in
And
terms of beating wraths.
you can't get the party, I don't think. Let's see. So
There
what do we have? We have wizards. We don't have rogues, right? What is it? What's the party?
aren't many angel rogues.
It's cleric. No, it's cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard. So we don't have any angel warriors or whatever. That's I think wait, I think there's one. There's one in like Tempest, right? Wait.
Yeah, I wonder how
Radi
viable this deck is just to like 2 mana Doomblades,
Warrior
and play
Angel. It's
some.
literally called Warrior Angel. There's a Warrior Angel in this format, right? It's an Angel Warrior. Warrior Angel. Okay. Sorry, I needed that for me.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think the blue splash is a really interesting way to combat what's probably your weak matchups. So maybe this will end up being the definitive version, but we're not done angeling
Yeah.
yet. We'll find out.
Secretary's always had like good decks, so I
Yeah,
trust their
Vector is
judgment.
very good and very good deck builder.
Okay. Top 8 time with the smattering of control. We might go back to back on this because they're kind of similar decks. So
Right. Okay,
Dangerfield and
Anger.
Exarvest.
This one
Danger
has a porphyry nodes in the main, exciting
Yeah.
over a day of judgment, but very similar.
Yeah.
Or
This one
they've also decided that truce appropriation is the thing to be doing.
Yeah, basically they cut a condemn for another land, or maybe like some Kaya. They have some like stuff split up. Like they've got a Gideon here. I like Gideon. You said the Porphyry nodes over the fourth condemn. They played an extra land. They found a way to find an extra land. I think they cut a Kaya Ghost Assassin for an extra land.
I think it's in the sideboard actually, the fourth.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I don't know how
so,
you come up with that, but
Hallowed Moonlight against Hypergenesis is kind of nasty. It's actually kind of
there are
gross.
quite a few dukes to
Yeah.
Hypergenesis. I put an overwhelming splendor in my game too today, and it was glorious.
I'll have to think about that. I'll have to play some. Splender's like
Oh,
yeah, Splender's
Shattered
pretty good
Seraph is
too.
the only Angel Rogue ever printed. Amazing.
There's an Angel Rogue.
Yeah,
Shattered
Shattered Seraph.
Seraph.
It's
Oh my
the
god.
kind of time spiral era thing that's like a 3/3 for 6 or something.
Yeah, if they cast Hallowed Moonlight, you should not just like have Eureka. You're right. You just like let it die. It's essentially
Yeah,
a
I mean,
counter spell.
it's counter draw a card rather than anything else.
I'm just like curious how they came to this conclusion of these are the best planeswalkers they could play, or like
Yeah,
how
a kind of intangible Slayer in particular seems very expensive, but
it's kind of
this card
it kind
does
of
it take
ends the
away magic?
game, doesn't it? Does it not just end the game in some way? Like you can't kill it. You can only attack it, and if your whole deck is built on like killing creatures, you can't like burn it out. What I mean to say.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, I feel like it's like quite often it's been 7 mana. Quite often it's a 7 mana control magic, I guess, except the creature's a 1/1 spirit.
yeah, it's
Like if
card
you're
advantage.
behind, you've got a control magic, right?
Yeah,
Everything else.
it's incredible card advantage. I mean, it does a lot. I think it does a lot for like a 7 mana planeswalker. So like, I guess there's no like nickel bolus or whatever, but It's tough. This deck is tough. I find it. I mean, it put like a bunch of decks in the top 8, but I still find it hard to like get up behind this deck. It just seems so like. Well, I guess once you get to the late game, like we saw a lot of matches where
I mean, if the
if you don't
problem
have some sort of
with the
engine,
format is non-land permanents or even lands, 4 Vindicate, 4 Obtuse Appropriation, some way to not die on turns 1 and 2, and some Planeswalkers is, it's an option, right? Did pretty well.
yeah. The other deck by XRVS is very similar. They played a
Mm-hmm.
Soul Shatter main deck instead
Yeah,
of something else. But the rat like I guess less rafts. They have Porphyrinos
more
as well.
Porphyroids.
Cyborg's a
People have
little
been talking about
bunch
them
of
more.
Hallowed Moonlight. They do not want to lose the Hypergenesis. They just did not want to lose that. They I feel XRVS like went started 4-0, lost next 2 rounds, made top 8, lost next 3 rounds.
Mm.
What's the mirror? I don't know. Well, I mean, I can't argue with the results, I guess, right? I can if I want to, but I won't. I can't. It's futile to do so. Okay. Watch Wander here with red black aristocrats. Kind of like I think it's like always the best deck, or sneakily the best deck that no one wants to play, if that makes any sense. It's like
So kind
and
of
it keeps
interesting.
getting better. I think it keeps getting better.
So no Dark Ritual, Price of Progress in the sideboard. Both of those things I think make total sense. 4 Priest of Forgotten Gods in the main. 1 Unlucky Witness in the main, which I guess gets a lot better once you have another sack outlet besides Bombardment. 2 Bitter Blossom, which combos with Bombardment on some level and is just a sticky threat. And then a Weatherlight completed, and also
Whether like
4 Judith, and therefore no Lurus. Weatherlight completed is a card that costs 2 mana and does absolutely nothing until 7 of your creatures die. Like scries 1 until 7 of your creatures die. But then it's a 5/5 flyer. Interesting card. Survives a wrath. Probably, well, maybe comes alive immediately after a wrath because your other things just died. I don't know. Is it better
wait,
than Bitter Blossom? Third Bitter Blossom? Can't be, can it?
how does it even so it's a vehicle, it's an artifact, but like
It's a vehicle, but it doesn't have a crew cost. So the fact it's the vehicle's kind of irrelevant. And, it's a bit like Black Card Tempered Steel used to play that was surprisingly effective. The two flyer that isn't a creature, like unless you activate it or you've played an artifact. Kind of like hard to wrath away in a way. But this deck's already pretty hard to wrath away, so I'm not sure. I mean, with
it
5/5 for 2, I guess
it's
if you're planning on Bitter Blossoming and Goblin Bombardmenting, you can just kind of pick your spot to suddenly fire off all your fairies to the face, and then or to clear blockers, and then you've got a 5/5 flyer swinging in the next turn, kind of sort of unexpectedly and things. I don't know. It's an interesting card. Watch says it won him 2 games he would have lost otherwise. How many games did it lose you though?
I think the key I think the theme of this deck is drawing cards, which is like I mean we all talk we love Grim Harvest, so like having 4 priests is like
Yeah.
really strong. Like you have creatures you want to die. So
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
if your
know.
opponent invests 2, 3, 4 mana in a creature, and you get it with a priest, oh my god, it's
Yeah,
just so good.
it's and like, even Lucky Witness is just like a fun of that just also draws. I love Unlucky Witness. It's like it's really good
Yeah, I
as a
think Unlucky
card.
Witness is very good.
Like
Probably a little hard to make red on turn 1,
and
but
the worst case of
decent
this
enough.
deck is the worst take of this deck just has a bunch of like 1 mana like two power
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
You just
I mean, it's kind of naturally aggressive, but without giving up too much of the aristocratic part because they're recursive, and because one of the 2/2s for 1 combos with Golden Bombardment. So it's kind of interesting to see Priests of Forgotten Gods with a bunch of beatdown creatures in a way, but they do work. And the answer on Mount Doom is 1 copy here, which I think probably most black red aggressive decks
yeah.
would play.
Also, you have like if you have like a bunch of blood soak or blood soak plus anything, you attack with a blood soak. If it doesn't die, you just use priest and you get it back with the you just you
With the
sack the
mana,
blood
yeah.
soaked and you just get the thing. You just draw a card there. It's kind of silly.
Mm.
Well, it's really
Yeah,
interesting. I
I
didn't.
mean, there's a lot of options for this deck. You know, I always bang on about the fact that you can play Lurus if you just cut Judith, but
Yeah.
Judith obviously extremely good here.
Yeah, I don't think you can cut Judith. It's too good. You need like it's like at the eighth bombardment, like kind of bombardment-y, and like you have like a priest as well to like sack things. So you've got a lot of stuff. Okay, where are we at? And last but not least, Rakdos Ramp. I think that was actually most excited to see, but then like kind of like petered out a bit because it's
Yeah,
Abomination.
it did win a game in spectacular, a couple of games in spectacular fashion. One in the top eight and one on my little earlier stream. I can't. I'm really surprised that Crobomination, which can only emerge of a coalition relic, is good enough here as one of the like 11 or 14, I guess, 16 like crazy things I'm going to do if you don't stop me. I don't know. Maybe it's good.
I guess it's
6 and a half
like
seems like a lot for a 5/5 and a random thing that might literally be nothing, as we saw earlier.
I guess like when people are playing these like big dumb decks like Hypergenesis, and I guess like in some instances like gift gift rights or whatever,
Yeah.
or like things like big expensive things that are getting cheated out. Abomination's like the scariest thing to see. It's like
I mean, if you somehow
this
get
could
an
be
Italian to play here, it can chain into one of your crazy things, and that's
yeah.
great. If you somehow get an Abomination into play, it just chains into, their chain lightning or whatever, right? So it's, I don't know. I
There
think
was
it's an
that
interesting.
the one time when they hit two lands, and I was just like, oh, this card's
Right.
terrible. Like like they needed it, and it's like they needed it, but because of the randomness of it, it's just so bad.
Yeah. I think if there were more things to emerge off and it was frequently black black or one black black or something,
Or
I'd be
like which
interested.
or like a thing is like if you like make them discard a card, like some sort of like 2 mana discard, and then you can Abomination. You know what I mean? Because it's a card from
Yeah.
the graveyard too. It's the only card in the graveyard. Boom, that's what you got. Um, but yeah, it's like a big like one shot deck. It feels like where it's like okay, here's my Grave
Right.
Titan. Key.
Somewhere between Dark Ritual, Coalition Relic, Big Score, it's my plan to cast Breach the Multiverse, Liliana, Etali, Grave Titan, or Crobomination, and hope that it like puts me in some crazy position where I win the game.
I guess the theme is that like Abomination, Natali, and Liliana's are like at least two sort of like two for ones in some way. I guess because like you could
Yeah, I mean against non-counterspell decks, semi-often you're going to assemble the mana and a big thing that does in fact
right
win the game.
like big score discarding Grave Titan into Liliana's Mastery is a lot of game. That's a ton of
Right,
game there.
right. That's just very good.
Sideward's like really interesting. I was like binding negotiation out the
26
board.
lands
It
is
was like,
interesting. 4 bicycles.
well, yeah. I mean, someone's got to. You they know that you have when you cast big things, you need a lot of
Mhm.
mana.
Right. You,
But
you you want to make your fifth and your sixth land drops in this deck in case you need follow up big things. Yeah, for
right,
sure.
and that's the only deck that had ramp in it, so it's really funny. Oh, those are Stark Rituals. I don't know. Do you want to? There's like so many decks. Do you want to go any other decks that you saw interesting? I wish I
I
didn't.
thought it was interesting that 4 or 5 people played Necrotic Ooze, but I don't think anybody did very well. So the less said, the better.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of
As
angels.
always, the
There's a lot of
meta was
angels.
extremely um, varied. Well done, Penny Dreadful. I did come 18th with Necrotic Ooze, apparently, and Big Fluff came 16th, so I just didn't have a totally hopeless showing. But yeah, a lot of angels, a lot of Orzhov control. Orzhov control somewhat getting the better of that. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens this season. Both those decks seem like decks with particular weaknesses, so it's probably quite possible to exploit that. See what happens.
Yeah, this is gonna be a pretty fun season. Really short season, but still gonna be pretty fun. I think that was good. It was good times. I need to play in these bigger events soon, but kickoff is in September. It's just a month away, right? A little
Yeah,
over a
it's
month.
not too long because
Yeah.
it's a short season. It is the 28th of September, yeah. So
All right. Try to
like 40, 42 days from now.
yeah, see if I can
Pretty
get something
short.
available for that. I haven't really found a deck I want to play. I don't think Storm is actually that good, or it's like if it's good, it's like too hard to play right now. or I'm just
Yeah,
like,
you
you
never
can't.
know with Storm if it's you or the deck, do you, or the build? Too
Yeah,
many choices at each step along
I've
the
been
way.
working. I like my Hypergenesis list though. I'm my only actual goal is to get people off of the dinosaur list because I just don't like the
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
I had that. I had the dinosaur one resolve against me today, and I think what I put in was better than what they put in. So yeah, we got to stop with that.
I mean, just Hath is like pretty good if it connects, but if they played against my deck, they're just not gonna get it connected because they're probably just gonna die on the stack.
Exactly right.
Well, I could die in the stack
Why,
with a Warstorm Surge, so I don't know.
yeah, why worry about spot removal or what your opponent's doing when you can just kill them?
Yeah, I've gone back to good old Cloud Blazer, just splashing for Cloud Blazer, and it's been great. I almost had a
That
5-0,
sounds
but I
insane to me, but you're the expert, so I'll bow to
yeah,
appreciation.
I'm actually close to cutting red. I'm like thinking to myself, do I read War Source Surge? But the two mana combo, it's a two card combos are really hard to find. So
Yeah, when
with
you're
the
mulliganing down to find what you need, having a two-card combo is pretty sweet.
yeah, all right, let's wrap this up. All right, thanks so much for watching. Great tournament, great top eight. That was actually really fun. I hope you had a
Great.
good time. Very good. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go do something else. I don't know. All right,
Thanks for
thanks Baker for
playing.
talking,
Bye.
and thank you stream. Thank you for everyone joining in. We'll see you next time.